All right. Hello, everybody. We are live. We got a couple more minutes before we're going to really get started. I'm going to go ahead and turn that volume down a little bit. Oh, I got to sit up straight if I'm going to look straight in here. So hello. Welcome. And I won't be watching the chat so much today. So what I wanted to do was post a link to the Discord, and I was planning to try and hear you rather than having to read the messages, which is pretty difficult to do. So let's see if we can pull that off. And first step, it's going to be making sure our audio is coming in. I won't be watching the chat so much today, so what I wanted to do was post a link to the Discord, and I was planning to try and hear you rather than having to
relatively low
read the
quality
messages, which is pretty difficult to do. So let's see if we can audio there. Hey everybody, hi Izin, great to have you. Okay, so I was gonna try and grab this Discord link, and then I'm in the community room, and no one's here, so there's an invite link. If I copy this link, post it right here, Command V. See if that works, hopefully. And yeah, we'll see how that works. Sweet. Another 2 minutes, and then we'll get really into it. So thank you all so much for joining. Can't believe there's 9 people here right now, so thank you guys. So great to have you. And we're gonna be talking about all the massive updates. I'll be taking your questions and trying to show you everything I know, and however long it takes. So best of luck to us. It's gonna be fun. Kind of messing with some new formatting here, so I might try zooming in on this shot a little bit right now too. Let's see. OBS. This shot. Oh, wrong one. How do I Control Z? This one. Scale. Slide. Theoretically, that's a little better. Okay. I think there's a crop option on it too. Real camera. No, it might not work on it. Order, transform. Yeah, we're gonna call that good. Okay, sweet. Oh, and then I wanted to see if I couldn't increase the quality. Okay, yeah, that was the other thing I wanted to try and do. We're gonna see if we can't get the quality a little bit higher. Settings, and hey, someone's here. Welcome. So great. Oh, to talk, I think you have to push to talk. I will help you with that in just a second. Okay, so output stream. Video bitrate, I don't know, I think we're fine. Yeah, we'll just call it good. It's fine. Not gonna worry about it. All right, back into Horizon here. Booyah, there we go. Cool beans. So we just had somebody join us in the Discord. Hey, it's Drayguns. Great to have you. If you didn't see, there's a link, I believe, in the general chat where we are live streaming. You probably already know that. You probably already know the live stream. And I'm going to be taking any questions y'all have. And today, to start us off, I have a bunch of notes for me to read. So let's go through these notes because this is crazy. I mean, crazy, absolutely insane. And so, but seriously, today Horizon just welcomed the United Kingdom, and they've made note on their Oculus blog that they're looking forward to welcoming more of Europe in the coming months throughout summer. So very much looking forward to seeing this open up to the actual world. I mean, it's called Horizon World, so where's the rest of the world? Am I right? Am I right? All right, so with that, we're very excited. So if you're in the UK, definitely drop a comment. Let us know. We're so grateful to have you here. And if you're in the rest of Europe looking to get in, let us know which country you're in, and hopefully we'll see you guys added soon. So there's been some massive changes, absolutely massive changes to Horizon Worlds. Dynamic lighting was recently added, which allows you to make flashlights and torches and like so many things. I mean, we've made club lighting, stage spotlights, lights that switches, light switches you can turn off and on. Some of these are in the Vidyuu assets library, so you can get a copy of those. So very exciting. And lightsabers, imagine making a lightsaber with an actual glowing light. Oh my gosh. Let's see, the next big change, custom locomotion. So, you know, the thing is, I've heard some people comment, and they're like, I didn't even know that was possible. And so, like, custom locomotion is insane. Miles, who's helping us with a new project that I can't wait to show you soon, it's called the Dungeon, and we haven't really come up with a name for it. But anyway, in the dungeon, there's these monsters, and when you get hit, there's a chance that it'll knock you back, and you literally get thrown back. It's crazy. So very cool. And that's what custom locomotion basically enables. It enables you to move players in ways we never could have before. I mean, we could have, like, put an invisible platform below them, very complex. Now you just say, throw the player, basically. And it also enables you to make flying, like really easy flying brooms and stuff. I haven't actually played with it, but I cannot wait to get to trying it out. There's just so many new things to actually play with right now. I'm just like, ah! So maybe we'll look at that today if you guys are interested in it. In addition to custom locomotion, there is, as of today, spawning and despawning assets. Oh my gosh, I've been incapable of holding this in. I'm so excited. So last week we built a maze generation algorithm, and I'll quickly show you what that looks like. We're going to search for the amazing maze, and here it is, and that's great. There you go. So what you can see here, this Michael Gregory posted a picture. You see that it spawns in. All of those little lines are individual assets in my asset library that I spawn in at a specific position and rotation. And once they're spawned in, we can then delete them. And so you'll see that they get deleted and can create a maze. And this is just absolutely absurd. And because these are static objects, they don't count against animation capacity. And you can reload this as many times as you want. It's like insane. So we built this world just as a proof of concept that uses the depth first search algorithm to build a maze. And it literally is a 32 player maze. It is legal 32, and it spawns a 16 by 16 maze. And the math I did is that you can probably get up to about 30 by 30 using this algorithm, like based on the number of walls and stuff, which is just insane. I would not want to do a 30 by 30 maze. So if you do that, please don't. So the other question is like, what else does asset spawning enable? And so somebody was asking me yesterday, they were like, can I make a thing where you put your hand in a trigger and it spawns in a object that gets attached to the player? Absolutely, you totally can do that. So we're going to be showing how to make like custom vests that you can like place your hand in. It spawns a random one so you can try different outfits on. So you can imagine making a place where you place your hand until you find the outfit that you want, and you could have literally 100 different outfits and it will not hurt your capacity because you're only going to really have one of those at the end of the day. So really looking forward to making that tutorial later this week. And the other things that it enables is like a backpack. Imagine you make a storage satchel and you like collect items as you're going along. You store them in your satchel, and you could have 100 items stored in your satchel, and it doesn't count against capacity because they're not actually in your satchel. They're just assets that you've referenced. I really can't wait to show you some more about this. This is so cool. So we actually already built one of these, which is just amazing. And basically you grab it, you press your button a few times till you find the asset that you want. When you let go, it spawns the asset in front of you, and now you can play with it, and then you can press another button to store it or another button to throw it away. And so that's like another awesome use of asset spawning and despawning. And so basically it takes our capacity limit of 3,000 objects and says, have whatever you want, but you have a maximum of 3,000 objects at a time and a maximum of your 100% animation and simulation capacity. And so yeah, you still have those requirements to stay below, but because we can dynamically spawn in and out things, we've even got a map that spawns in different maps for you to play, and then it unloads it and loads in another one. I mean, it's just unbelievable what you can do with this. So my last note there is Horizon Worlds has changed forever. I mean, this has literally taken an app that was limited by capacity and said, whatever, do whatever you want. You can do anything now. It's fine. Because this pairs really well with the asset library, which is another feature that came out in the last couple weeks, where you can now create your own custom assets, which means you can walk into an empty world, import the essentials bundle, select all the assets you want, add them to your library, and then go to any world and place them down. It's just so incredible. So yes, assets are amazing. This spawning is amazing. Per player visibility. This is another amazing one that's come out in the last month. Per player visibility makes it so that you can have something that's only visible to certain players. So for instance, I have a slots world and I wanted to make a little wall that you had to like read. Basically, it's a legal disclaimer that's like, you're not going to make money here. And so there's a button, you press it, and it makes the wall invisible to you. And it's easy. It's just simply put your hand in, set visibility for player false or something like that. I can't remember, but it's like, there is per player object visibility. So imagine making you could make a museum, and the user puts on glasses that allows them to see like a third dimension to the museum. So it's like, this is a normal museum, and maybe it's all in white, and it's like all the exhibits are just these kind of like plain exhibits, and then you put your glasses on and all of a sudden the color is popping out, and it's just because you're wearing the glasses. So very super awesome. Also, so people are joining the Discord. Great to have you. Thanks for joining. You can hopefully you're watching because you can't hear me on Discord. You have to be on the YouTube to hear. But the thing is, if you go to Discord, you can talk back to me, which is exciting. Okay, so let's keep going. What else is there? Force hold object came out today. Force holding, I'm very excited about because I was telling you about that satchel. I'm going to make it so when you pull an item out of the satchel like a torch, it literally attaches to your hand. So rather than having to pick it up, you can just, it's in your hand, right? So that's super exciting. Let's see. Hand collisions. Oh, if you haven't seen this video, Sensei J did an amazing video on hand collisions showing off The World by Martin Schubert. And this one allows you to like make buttons and levers and spinny things. And literally a guy was just messaging me. He was asking about making doors that swing open. And I'd love to try and figure out how to do that with the physical motion because you just push on it with your hands. The doors would swing open and they'd swing closed. He wants to make some like saloon style doors. And I was like, oh, that's an amazing idea. And like the physical motion would be so perfect. And this is another code block that's literally just come out. And I just haven't had time to play with it. I'm just so excited. So excited. What else we got? We got achievements. Achievements! Like, holy crap, this is so cool. So achievements, basically, it's like a player variable was cool because you could like track money or you could track their level or there was so many things. And now we've got a bunch more of those. I think it went up to 75 player variables. So there's tons of new player variables. And now that we have achievements, you can say, oh, you killed such and such. Like there's some boss monster and you kill the boss monster and now you get some achievement. Or maybe you play for X hours and you get the achievement or you do whatever and you get an achievement. And now I'm so excited to play with those. So I am so excited. Those are going to be awesome. You could even use the achievements to say, if you have an achievement, you get access to like a special throne room or a special door. You could even make it, there's 100 achievements max. So kind of keep that in mind. But imagine building a world where like each level, you have to get the achievement to continue to the next level and to the next level. So many amazing ideas. Let's see. Monetization. Okay, I wanted to at least comment on it. I mean, monetization is here. This is, it's not a release to everybody, but you're seeing it in worlds. Like I popped into a world today and it had a pop-up that was like, by the way, you can buy stuff in this world. And I was like, this is crazy. Like we live in a world where you can buy stuff in Horizon now. And that's usually perks. It's just perks. But I think that's just kind of worth mentioning that that's coming. I mean, they're still working on it, obviously, but eventually that's going to roll out to potentially all users. I imagine there's probably like an application. I have no idea, but literally just me speculating. But something like monetization is coming, and that's quite exciting. Custom player physics property. Oh, this is something I'm really excited. So custom physics properties. You remember how you could make a bouncy ball, but there's only like super bounce and bounce? You can now slide the bounce attribute among with all the others, like the slide for ice. And apparently that just released today. I haven't seen it yet. I cannot wait to go test it in build mode. And what else we got? New fonts. Oh, have you seen the new fonts by Pigeon? Oh my gosh, Pigeon number 12 found like a dozen new fonts. They're freaking incredible. They're so cool. I cannot wait to show you that if you haven't seen those. Those are so good. Batch editing. Did you know you can select multiple objects, open up the properties panel, and then edit the properties? You can make a whole bunch of things non-collidable. Or what we did yesterday is we were working on this text object and we had a bunch of these duplicated. I selected all of them and I was able to edit the text field of multiple text objects simultaneously. And so I had a bunch of them and they were all at 40 opacity. And so I changed the alpha from 40 to 80 and I was able to do that all simultaneously. It was just incredible experience. And the last thing on my list of big, massive updates that Horizon has added is Vidyuu. Vidyuu is now in Horizon, which really has changed the app forever. I mean, I hope this means we're all going to get video at some point, but I'm kind of in doubt because we've been asking for years. But look at that. There's Vidyuu right there. And if you scroll down, you'll see all their featured events. What's interesting about all these featured events is when you get to one of these, like Alcoholics Anonymous right there, like, or Trip, like, suddenly you're looking at all these Vidyuu events. And so I imagine people coming from Vidyuu are like, wait a second, what is Relax and Vibe? But wow, that world looks amazing. Who did that? That is amazing. But yeah, you know, like next to Soapstone and so many other ones, right? But it's really cool. So I think that's awesome. And so feel free to comment and ask questions and join in the Discord if you want to like talk out loud and like all that. But yeah, so let's continue with the next step, which is to go into edit mode. So we're going to create and we're going to click new world. It's going to be a blank world called the version 62 V62 play and create. And so I'm making this because if you haven't heard, there is a bug right now that is causing worlds to crash. Yeah, be careful. All right, hopping over. I'm hopping over here. Okay. Oh, you know what I was wondering? Maybe my bit rate Oh, hi, Michael. Great to have you. Hey, Film Sensei. Ooh, very nice. Thank you, Film Sensei, for that. Love that. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna go to Discord. I'm so silly. I'm in. Where is Discord? There it is. I'm streaming video here. Apparently nobody's here. I guess I'm by myself. I don't know why that is, but the thing on Discord is that it's uploading video. So my apologies. That's probably why the quality wasn't super high. So I'm going to disconnect. Sorry, Discord friends, but you can catch me in here. Hey, King, great to have you. And I'm going to pop out of Discord now. So I guess I take it back. Join comments here. Do all that stuff here on YouTube. Cool. So we're in an empty world now. And holy crap, there's 17 people here. You guys are awesome. Thank you all so much for being here. That's so fantastic. And thanks for the 8 likes. That's amazing. Half of you guys have liked this video. That's fantastic. So what we're going to do now is I want to show you just like, I wanted to show off. I hope that's okay. So I really wanted to take you actually into this world, but because it's broken, we're just going to bring in worlds one at a time. So this is called the VDC room updating world. And I'm going to go ahead and quickly import it because what I wanted to talk to you about was some of the new processes that the new asset feature has enabled for us. And so when the new asset feature came out, it basically made it so that you can select an object and bring it to another place almost immediately. I mean, it's crazy. You just pop over, it's like 30 seconds and you've brought it into a new world. And so we've got three worlds that we're using to build this one world. So we have the main world, which is where we have everything is getting ready to get published and we're doing debugging. That's where everything really happens. But then we have a design room, which is where we are all designing and we're just kind of like throwing ideas together, sketching out thoughts. And then we have a third room, which is this one that just imported. And you see all these massive numbers. There's a reason there's these massive numbers. So basically, each of these represents a world that we've already completed, 1 through 6. These are the ones we're currently working on. So 0, 7 through 13 are, and so in the design room, you'll see that we're putting together little dungeons like this. Euphoria is working on this and he's done a fantastic job. You can look at that. That is so good. And so you can imagine like there'll be some mobs in here to fight and there's all these little pathways. And so as he's designing these in the design room, when he's done, he grabs that as an asset. And so if you've never made an asset before, this is one grouping and you can click this button right here to create an asset. You type in a name. We don't get really super in depth. We're not even taking pictures when we're creating these assets. In fact, I'll show you, I just have so many assets right now. So here's Stone Golem, the Hellfire Skull. We've got some keys, chests, and here's like dungeon number C06, which stands for corner. And this is the 6th one. And so I have 2 here. So there's actually 14, excuse me. And then here you can see this one, and we've got all these triggers. And you might be thinking, there's literally nothing in here. Why would this be interesting? It's because each of these triggers is actually way more crazy than you think. So this is a chest. I know this is a chest because this is the size of the chest. But you see this teensy little cube right here? This is actually going to cause a new asset to spawn in that represents a chest. And the reason we do this is so that when the chest loads in, it's the most recent version of that chest. So up in here, we can easily update one of our enemies. This is one of the enemies. And so I click the edit button and I can change it to select a new enemy, which allows me to really quickly update this, and I don't have to come back in here to update it. So we use this tiny little cube, which causes the chest to get spawned in, and then we can update the chest later if we wanted to. And this one here is actually a whole area that enemies can spawn. So enemies can spawn anywhere in this zone here, and there's another little cube somewhere in here. I don't know where. They're just so teeny. And so that's how we're doing it, is we're basically taking this, we're scaling it to the area that we want the enemies to be able to spawn in, and then we choose a random position in that trigger to spawn the enemies at. It's pretty neat and super exciting. So look forward to seeing more on this, but I just kind of wanted to quickly show you some of the stuff we're working on with these new tools. And feel free to ask questions as we're kind of going through this. I'm going to take it relatively fast because I just have so much I want to show. And since I'm in an empty world, I'm just going to be constantly deleting stuff, which I think is totally fine. Okay, doop, and delete. All right, what y'all got to say? Yo, Mike. Hey, Iggy. Young Bless, welcome. David, welcome. Chris, welcome. Dragons, welcome. Lindsay, welcome. Galactic Victoria, welcome. Dirt Dig, welcome. Hello, Vibe, great to have you. Dragons, I can't read your name. Let's go. Yes, me too. Oh my gosh, great to have y'all here. So awesome. And last one here is locked, and unlock and delete. Okay, so I've shown you this, and now I think I'm going to quickly show you the design room. And so again, if you didn't hear about the bug that's kind of happens just later today, it's if you're editing your world, there's a chance your rings will go red and you won't be able to get back. We did find a way to solve for this, so if you're having this issue, check out the Discord under bugs. We have information on how to fix it if you've come into this bug. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and import this world. But that's why I'm in an empty world right now, is because I just don't want to have to worry about having to follow those steps again. Okay, so this world is importing. All right, so welcome to our design room. This is like literally crazy. So you can kind of see we've got tons of people working on it. So here's Oculus's section, we have Pigeon's section, this is Euphoria's, Omni's, this was also Oculus's, this is me, this is Habiter's. He doesn't have anything there, but he's been working on a lot of stuff for us. Habiter built all these awesome mobs. Actually, Euphoria built this one, which is super cool. And we have this kind of like discussion about how we want to have this mage have a story about how it turned into the Grim Reaper by like studying dark magic or something. And this is one of our mobs. This is the also designed by Habiter. But anyway, some great stuff in here. And you can see we have this entire area of assets that we use to build these designs. We kind of come in here, grab something we like, place it in the map. And then over here, this is, oh my gosh, there's so much I want to show you here. It's just crazy. So many cool stuff. But basically what you can see is we do all of our design work in here. And because we're doing all our design work in here, once we're done building, so this is a 6-layer maze. I mean, it's absolutely absurd. 6-layer, 3-dimensional maze, just mind-boggling. It's 10 by 10, just mind-bogglingly big. It's crazy. But once we're done designing this, we'll then make it into an asset, bring it into that room updating world that you just saw, which is where we'll produce the final versions for the game. And so over here is one of the ones Euphoria's been working on. I think this is actually the one we just saw. So you can see he's still got it sitting here. And he's taking 3 maps. So he takes 3 of these. And I'll just kind of quickly show you what this looks like. Basically, I take this, I slide it down, and I slide it down. I snap it into here, and then I scale it up so that the walls are the same height. Sorry, a little cat hair in my mouth. So once I've scaled it to the same height, what we do next... Oh my god, I can't get the cat hair on my mouth. Okay, we're good. No, we're not. Okay, we're good. Thank you, kitty. So anyway, what we do is we then scale this so that it fits nicely. So we do that, and then this is based off of that maze world I was telling you about a little bit ago. And so I will show you exactly how the maze algorithm works in just a moment. I literally have it right there. And so what's so cool about this is we can now make this our own custom dungeon. So once we've made this first map, we can see this is an entrance, this is an entrance, this is always the exit. And so we can be like, well, this is a little bit too easy to get to. So oftentimes what we'll do is maybe do that and then drag this over to here. And now suddenly the path is always this kind of longer method. And there's a lot we can do with this. So I'm going to undo, just leave it like that for Euphoria to play with when he gets back. And then we'll do another layer and then another layer, and we get the whole 3 layers together. It's crazy, but it's pretty awesome. And then over here is our maze generation. This is actually already in the Essentials bundle. So if you want to play with this script, you can get it in the Essentials Assets pack. And so the way this works in this version, I have an if statement that when I set it to true will cause this loop to go off. And you can see it already starts generating a 5x5 maze. Once the maze has been generated, we will select it like this. We then grab our duplicate tool, slide up a copy. We can then group that together. And then when we stop the world, so we go script, stop, clear, all of the other assets get deleted. We can then hit play and it'll generate a brand new maze, literally that easy. And any second now. There it goes. And then it goes and loops through. Beautiful. We select it, we duplicate it, and voila. So it's pretty crazy. I mean, that's how easy it is to generate mazes with this new maze. And if you wanted to make it a different height and width rather than a 5x5, right here you have rows and columns. So we could do like, this can be crazy. Let's do 15 by, I don't know, 7. And then hit play. And you get a completely different design, right? So boom. There it goes, and this should be 15 long. And I'm going to go ahead and delete these because I don't actually need them. But there it goes. It rips through that 7. It should be hitting 15 here in a second, and then it's going to start cutting. Maybe? Where are we at? Oh, did we just hit world capacity? Okay, so yeah, you got to be careful with assets, as you can't spawn in assets once you hit world capacity. And so capacity limit, we didn't actually end up spawning all the assets. But as long as you have world capacity, that would have worked, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go switch that back to 5x5, and we'll clean this world up later. Okay. And so that's another thing is like, okay, so we're building these this massive world, okay? Like that, each of these is 1/6 of the world capacity in objects. And so that's another reason we had to build 3 different worlds, is so that we can easily build and then design it, move to another world, clean it up, post it, share it. And because it's a asset, we actually don't need it to be in our final build. So the next thing I'm going to show you is our final build. And so give me a second to delete all of this. I don't really encourage deleting everything at the same time, but my wife does. And you do what your wife says. That's what I've been told. So anyway, oh, actually that worked really surprisingly well. I was expecting that to cause a lot more lag. Cool. All right. Hi, everybody. We'll just take a look at the chat. Oh my gosh, Dog Galactic, thank you. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know you could donate 99 cents. Thank you so much. Wow, that's so cool. Holy crap. I didn't know that was even possible. Oh my gosh, you're blowing me away. And now I'm sweating because I'm super embarrassed. But thank you so much. Oh my gosh. So we've got this section we're going to go ahead and delete, and then the last section, and then I'm going to go and import the next piece. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to post them. I know there's a lot that I'm going through here, but I just kind of want to really quickly show off as much as I can. There's so much to show. So exciting. Oh, and another locked piece over here. Oh, this is where I wish we had a lock tool that we could scale and then swipe through to unlock everything. We don't. As you can tell, it's still locked, but it's like almost there, right? Like that looked like it was going to work. And anyway, and delete. There we go. Okay. And so now I'm going to go back in and we're going to import VDC, which, it's not going to work. So you know what? I'm going to do this and we're going to be very, very cautious. Okay. So if anybody out there has access to this world, okay. So VDC is a code name. We didn't want anybody to know what we were working on. So we just called it VDC, which stands for Vidyuu Dungeon Crawler. I'm going to go ahead and hit edit worlds. And we're going to fingers crossed we don't encounter the bug. And if we do, like I said, there is a way to fix it. But because we're loading this, I can actually show off it working without having to like create player variables and stuff. So very, very exciting. I hope you're excited. I'm super excited. There's so much cool stuff in here, but I'm going to have to be in here very, very quickly. So we're going to try and keep it really short. And if there's something you really want to see the script for, let me know. And maybe we can get some screenshots of that out to you guys. I'm also still fixing a lot of bugs, so it's not like finished yet, but it's pretty far along. So here we go. Oh my gosh, welcome to the Vidyuu Dungeon Crawler. This is an awesome world that we're working on, which is all about showing off asset spawning. So first off, you spawn in and you've got a satchel. We all love the storage satchels. One of the very first, torch just spawned in. One of the very first videos we ever made on the channel. Health is at 50 out of 50, strength 5, bag capacity 2, speed 4.5, and I got 100 coins on me. Nice. And when I let go, it automatically attaches back to my avatar. Over here, you can see that you get options for storing and discarding on weapons. So I'm going to select this weapon. I've added this basic staff to my bag. I can pull the basic staff. This was literally spawned. This was an asset that was spawned into the world right now. And so here we can see that if I press forward, I can store it. So I've just stored it back into my bag. And if I press the downward button, I can delete it. And because we know staffs are just way too basic, we're going to go with my favorite, the leafy stick. And oh my gosh, it's Oculus 410! Oh my gosh, there's some confetti! Hey dude, great to have you.
Here. It said edited now, and I'm like, what is going on?
No, we're live. Did you know we're live? Dude, we're on a live stream. Bro. Yeah.
Oh, you're leaning. You're on your desktop.
I'm on desktop leaning. Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah,
Sub to Vidyuu.
Yeah, sub to Vidyuu, love that. So grab a stick. The leafy stick is literally the best weapon. I know, it's so good. You can see this has got some more instructions. Like if you have multiple items, you can actually select an item on your bag and then release it to take it out. We've also got this really cool torch that burns out. So you can see it puts off a lot of light when it first spawns in, but over time it slowly gets more and more dim. Over here we got a little training area. You can practice. Yep, that's pretty cool. Yep, we're gonna fight it out. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I forgot to fix this guy. I need to remember to fix that guy. It's on my to-do list. Okay, so we've got some information like how many enemies have you slain? How many most consecutive rooms have you been through? How many times have you died? I have died the most. I am very proud of that, thank you. I like to die. Oh, and here we can get a key. And keys allow you to unlock chests. We are working on some other stuff. Like I said, there's lots of bugs. But this is not a chest you can unlock, but you can unlock chests when we get in. This is Miles in the Hat. We're working on a name. If you've got a good name for Miles, please submit it in the comments like right now. We called him Wizzles earlier on. He's supposed to be a wizard. This is also not Miles, that's KO. But anyway, it's supposed to be Miles N005. And this is where you get your full health regen. Over here you can buy upgrades like a bag upgrade, health upgrade, and you just grab, which is really cool. I really love this effect. You can increase your strength, which increases your damage. You can increase your speed to run faster. Health obviously increases your max health. And Gal's super cool. Look at the way she looks at you. Isn't that cool? And I'm about to introduce you to my favorite character in this entire series, Musculos! No, get out of here. Musculos! Get out of here. Musculos! I love Musculos. Oh my gosh. Huge shout out to Euphoria who designed Musculos. Look at that. Look at that, dude.
I designed this right here. Though.
Okay.
This was me.
Yeah, Oculus designed this guy, and that's all he gets credit for. Everything else is Euphoria. Oh my gosh, isn't that good? And Euphoria is working on Omni. This is going to be Omni Parker soon. This is Euphoria himself working on a self-portrait. And of course, we have Blue Shirt Guy over there. Everybody loves Blue Shirt Guy. And yeah, so let's continue going through the cave. This is your first time since we added mob spawning, right? You're going to need a couple items.
These fight stuff.
Oh yeah, we got to fight stuff.
Prep.
Grabbing one of each. Okay.
Leafy stick.
I've got a torch.
Some strength.
Oof. All right, we're entering the dungeon. Oh, you know what I should have done is turn it to midnight black because we're getting light bleeding in here. Oh, that's okay. Oh no, there's a hellfire skull around the corner. Watch out. Are you coming? You coming? Bruh.
Yeah,
Bruh.
just needed more inventory.
All right.
Let's go.
I'm going to leave this over here. Oh no, he's firing at me. Give me my basic staff. Ah, there it is. Okay. Ah. I wasn't meant for this. I pulled out a hockey stick now.
Why are you so bad at this?
I'm so bad. It's because I'm, flustered. Oh my gosh. Fight. And so you can see the Hellfire Skull. It targets. It's currently static enemy. We're working on making them fly. That'll be the next stage. But good job, Oculus. You'll see their health bar goes down and it starts in green and it goes to red once you get them low health. And we can continue exploring through here. Ooh, a bag of money. Go ahead and grab a bag of money. And so all of these assets, everything you're seeing was spawned like as an asset. These are literally assets that were spawned in from those small tiny cubes we just saw. And the mobs are spawned in randomly. And we're actually going to be using the trigger to determine where they're able to fly to. So we'll be able to set the flying radius of these monsters based off the trigger, which is so cool. And I'm really looking forward to a chest. Oh no, got another one. Okay, and he's gone. And now we're going to, oh my goodness, I've unlocked it and I got a bag of gold. Yes! And so you can see the chest actually just despawned itself. So once it's done being used, we despawn it because obviously we want to lower our capacity as quickly as possible. And so once we clear an area, we actually despawn all of the remaining assets. And I think Oculus, let's just speed run to the end of this so we can show a couple different of the maps that Euphoria's made. We have some really amazing maps still in the works by Oculus, Pigeon, Omni, KO. Oh, more gold. Literally, I don't know where these are hidden because I didn't make these maps. I'm like, ooh. Oh no, we're being attacked. Oh, and he's guarding gold. And my basic bat broke. Oh no, being attacked on two fronts. Oculus, where are you? Please. And so it's, oh, I went through that secret tunnel that you didn't know about. You can actually throw these weapons too. So there's like opportunity. Ow, I hit my chair or something. But anyway, so that's pretty cool. You got a skull? Where? You went upstairs, didn't you? Where are you?
Boom.
Bruh.
I have a key, but there's a chest here.
Yeah, we need a key to open the chest, so you're going to have to leave it. Where'd you...
Oh, man.
Come down. It's around the corner.
Right.
So when you come down this, there's a secret little pop through right there. Yeah. Now y'all know. This is the secret though. Don't tell anybody. It's supposed to be like a maze, a little labyrinthy. You got to find it.
Who builds secret walls in?
Oh no, watch out. There's a golem. Ah! Oh, and I went into build mode like a bad person. Oh gosh. Well, anyway, so these are pretty cool. And you can see these maps. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And one of my favorite things that we added down here Oh, look, another chest. So we're going to make it so mobs can drop keys. And then look at this vine. We're using the ladder from the Vidyuu Essentials bundle, literally to make it look like you're climbing up this vine. We just made it invisible. How crazy is that?
Ooh, money.
Shout, oh, getting some money. And oh gosh, I don't want to die. Don't want to die, don't want to die, don't want to die. Once I get to this door, it'll actually teleport Oculus because you have to continue as a party. And there he is. So just like that. Oh, what we needed to show was getting kicked by the character. So let me show you getting kicked. So right now, the mobs are getting loaded in. In fact, there's one of them. And there might be another one hiding around here. But I'm going to let this guy attack me. So I'm wandering across this. As the levels get higher, these guys shoot faster and more of them spawn. Every 5th room, you get one additional monster. And so every so often, I will get punched by this. So I'm not going to touch any of my controllers. And every so often, he'll... Come on. Oh, there it is. No! And I die. Anyway. So it's pretty cool. It was great work by Miles on that. It just blew me away when I got hit for the first time. It's just like, whoa. Especially when you're walking across something like this. It's like, do you like accidentally catch yourself over there? And so yeah, look.
Jump on his head?
Yeah, go for it. Oh, no.
Setting me up, aren't
Yeah,
you?
that was bad. I don't think you can jump on his head, actually. Come to think of it. Yeah, that was... No. Why would I do that? Why would I listen to you? So,
You weren't going to do it twice.
so let's go and show you what this looks like in build mode. And I just want to quickly check and see if there's any cool questions coming in. What you guys got to say? How do I make the competition or the continuous rotation script? Ooh, that's a great question. Let me come back to some of these in just a second. I'm going to quickly show you in build mode what we got. So the first thing you'll notice is this is the center. This is where you spawn, then you drop down into the center room. And these blocks get spawned continuously in a circle. And because they're so disorienting, you don't even notice you're in a circle. This giant trigger is what detects those tiny little cubes and causes the new assets to spawn. And so we just spawn in another one, spawn in another one. And as we despawn this, we despawn all the assets in there as well. It's a lot. It's a lot of work. As you can see, we're working on some bugs. And it's pretty neat, though. So very exciting. And if we go up into the sky, just to kind of show you a little bit about our script organization structure here. I guess we can start over here. We have our chunk loader. We add chunks via this add chunk, which allows us to put references. So since I know this just came out today, when you open your menu and you head to the assets, you're going to start seeing there is an asset reference at the bottom. So this stone golem can then be referenced over here, or in this case, we would reference the maps. And so you can see S06, 00 straight, S04, C06. So we have straights and corners, which is defining what type of path it is in that cube. And then once we've added them all here, this script simply just sends them to the main chunk loader. And so we can literally have 100 of these loaded into here, and then it'll load it into here. And if we cap this script's capacity, we duplicate it and have another 100. So it's pretty neat. The doors, we have a respawn script, which does player deaths when they fall. Static enemy, entity placer. So lots and lots of manager scripts. The player bag here. And so that's how the player bag's working. I did stop the word. Okay. We have the free gear grab item, buy upgrades, which sends messages back to the player's bag, weapon controller, lots and lots of things. Then we have a visual effect and some sounds that we're constantly teleporting around for each player. We have the training trigger. So when you're practicing, the NPC, so that one that looks at you. And working on that NPC to get into the essentials, but it's got a lot of work left. Then over here, this is where we do all of our mob training. So over here, we'll create the stone golem. We've got the hellfire skull. And then when we want to test it, we simply drag this into here. I'll show you this. It's pretty crazy. So if I hit, we'll leave the world stop for a second, but I just drag this into here. And then I hit play world. And it's going to spawn in a monster. And so I think, I don't expect anybody to I'm hoping this really just inspires you on what you can do, not necessarily. I think it takes 15 seconds. Sorry. That's why it's still loading. But what I want to really show you is
Do I get a stick?
No, you don't get to fight this one. Okay, so there it goes. It just spawned in the asset. So you can see that just got spawned in. You'll notice that the asset needs to have the scripts all grouped into it, because if you needed to spawn it, you need to despawn everything as one entity. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the world and show you just how cool this script is. So when we use this trigger to determine the space in which it spawns, we can drag it as big as we want it whatever area we want these monsters to spawn in. So probably not that high, but you can imagine you want it to fill this whole area with monsters and they can fly around in this area. And then on that little teeny cube that you can't see, but it's right here. If you look, we made a variable which allows us to determine how many enemies spawn in here by default. So we can set this to be like 10. And then when I hit play, it's going to spawn 10 entities into this space. And if 2 try to spawn on top of each other, we use a floor on the position to make sure that they do not spawn on top of each other. And so if you don't know what that means, it's okay. We can do a tutorial on this later. There's so much in here. I mean, it's kind of crazy. We've been working on it for a few weeks now. And in just a few seconds, Oculus is going to try to fight with bags, I guess. Bruh. You need a torch. Torches are like the most powerful. Look at that. There they go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, you can see not all of them spawn in, probably because a couple were overlapping. So it said, I don't spawn in if I overlap. But yeah, you can see there's different types as well. And these are almost overlapping. They're not, but they're almost. And it spawns in both types of static entities, which is pretty cool. Working on some more stuff. Anyway, I just wanted to really hopefully inspire you with that. And now I need to hit the undo world. And you'll remember 10, 15 minutes ago when we got here, I was like, we should, be here for not very long. So Oculus, if you want to continue with us on our party, I'll add you to the world. But we're going to head back to that empty world and kind of want to import the new asset library that everybody's been playing with. The new Vidyuu essentials. Actually, I've got a secret in there I'd like to show you guys. It's not a secret. It is a secret. It's not. It is a secret. Okay. So let me get to where is that? Version 62, play, info, manage collaborators, add collaborators, invite as editor, back, edit world. Okay, cool. So we're on our way. Woo! Okay, so there's a thing that Wafflecopters designed, and it was kind of like secret, but I think everybody knows about it now, especially because I put it in the asset library. So I can't wait to show you that. And let's see what y'all are saying. Oh my gosh, Michael, thank you so much, dude. Seriously, thank you very, very much. I didn't even know this was a thing, but I really greatly appreciate you guys' support. It really means the world, and looking forward to continuing to help you guys in any way we can. Okay. Let's see. Oh, hello, Johnny. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Oculos. We've got a hi to Oculos. Very nice. Miles, miles, and miles. Musculos just looks like the real thing. Oh, you guys are great. That's awesome. How do I make continuous rotation? Great question. When start once the object is picked up, then release. Great question. Okay. What software do you use to connect your computer to your Oculus? This software is called Rift, right? It's the Rift software, Oculus. That's what we're using to play on. Use the Rift Oculus, and then you use link cable. I'm not an aficionado. I spent like an hour trying to figure it out before this, but I kind of like pushed myself through it to figure it out. But there's lots of tutorials online on how to use the Rift software, and then you just play it like a like on it's weird, but it's weird. Oh my gosh, I'm hyped too. Okay, and let's continue. So the next step is we're going to import the latest, the greatest, the Vidyuu asset showroom. That's right, we literally renamed it to reflect the new asset library. So it's no longer Vidyuu Essentials. Not to mention, I mean, we were over 100. It wasn't essential at that point. They were like literally everything. So anyway, the asset showroom is incredible. It's literally at 100% capacity, which is crazy. And I think what we'll do is we'll just kind of go through some of this stuff, answer any questions, show you some of the secret. Oh my gosh, it's the dog. Oh my gosh, this is the dog. Oculus hates this dog, but we love this dog.
Dog.
Oh, he loves the dog. Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm importing the Vidyuu Asset Showroom. So the Vidyuu Essentials Bundle original copy is no longer the main place that you go to check this out. It's called the Vidyuu Asset Showroom. It's actually on the Vidyuu account, which is kind of cool. And what? Is it importing? Oh.
Yeah, there's a spawn point popped up.
Oh, spawn point popped up. Ooh, it's coming. Let's go into build mode. I love watching this stuff come in. Ooh, there it is. So exciting. Oh. And the clouds are loading. Yeah, this is... I imported the world. I don't actually have the assets on this account. The assets are on the Vidyuu account. And you guys, I'm pretty confident we're going to get these in the asset library. I got some good feelings, some good vibes. And I really appreciate all your support last month voting to get us added to the asset library. And I actually have more assets than this listed in the thing that I sent them to get added. So hopefully not only is it all of these amazing assets, but it's like another like 25-35% of a world in additional assets. So hopefully y'all will enjoy that.
The
So
whole evolution of all the KO clouds are here. This is
oh yeah,
amazing.
all the KO clouds. We got the originals. We've even got the top hat cloud, the Uwu cloud. Oh, we don't have the Uwu cloud, but that's okay. This is the Vidyuu cloud. It's supposed to represent when Lakes 05 gets super happy. Woo woo! It's so good. Oh yeah, and it looks like a croissant. These are the cube clouds, low capacity, classic clouds. The inspired by Cloud Beach, Victor Riddle, shout out. So what we wanted to look at was the object rotation. Well, actually, I'm sure y'all are curious, so I'm going to quickly show you this, and then we'll show you how it's done as soon as we're done with the quick rotation. So grab this, and we're going over here. Oculos has this in his new Hoops world, actually. That's where we designed this, but this it was originally crafted by Wafflecopters. So shout out to Wafflecopters for discovering this. And what I wanted to do was get us to a clear day. So right here, it's clear day. So you can see we're actually at sunset. Like this is not skybox hackery. This is quite literally the environment gizmo is changing. And we're literally just cycling out environment gizmos by using that new asset spawning tool. So we literally spawn in a new environment gizmo. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to show you this because it's so cool. And but yeah, so that's that. Now, we wanted to look at object spinning. I know I have that around here somewhere. Rotation. Here it is. Okay, so continuous rotation, and you asked for it to spin when object is grabbed. Let's see. It says, what software? How do you make the continuous rotation script start once an object is picked up and then released? So I think if I'm understanding the question correctly, because you wouldn't want it to spin in your hand, right? Like that would look kind of weird. Maybe you do. I think there is a place where that's something you'd want to do. But if you want it to spin when someone releases it, right here you can see we're sending loop to self, which causes the spinning to start when the world is started. And so when you're thinking about events, when you're scripting, this whole entire section of events is about defining when something happens. And so as we scroll through here, you're going to find there's an event called when object is released. You can also find it over here under player events or grab events, right? So here's grab events when object is released by player, released by two hands. And so here when we say when object is released, we want to grab that send a loop to self, drag it down here into when object is released by player. And what you'll now see happen is when I grab, sorry, we're going to select this, make this interactive and grabbable. Okay, now it's grabbable. And now let's go and clear. I usually stop, reset the world, so I'm going to go ahead and do that too. Stop and hit play. And now when I come in, I can grab this object, and when I let go of it, it should start spinning. Oh, it teleports back because it's got a return on it, but we can delete that in a second. And I think it's using global rotation or something. Whoa, I don't know. It's so funky. It's kind of cool though. Let's try letting go right here. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it's using global rotation. And so if you don't understand what that means, it's like it's rotating around the world's y-axis versus the local y-axis. And so what we wanted to change here is we have this object return script. And so if we go into the properties panel of this, I encourage you to leave the return in the script. You could delete that, but we can just turn it off right here. So now it doesn't return when it's let go. And then here where we're using global rotation, we can turn this off so it uses local rotation, which means it'll spin around the y-axis of this object. And so now when I grab this and let go, you'll see it spins around the local axes, no matter which direction I put it, the local y-axis of this, and it starts spinning the moment I grab it, which is pretty neat, or the moment I let go. So hopefully that answered your question. Please let me know if it didn't. And thank you so much for asking. Thank you. Sweet. Oh, when an object is released. Sweet. Glad I got that TY. Thank you. Oh, not the object that you are releasing, a different object. Oh, to spin a different object? Even cooler. Yeah, we can do that pretty easy. All you do, Oculus is hack. So we go to the variables tab, create a new variable called, and we'll call this the other object. So I do this in a few of my scripts. So if you ever see the other object, this is referring to let's apply it to another object. And so down here, when we are sending the loop event, in the loop event up here, you'll see we are spinning self. So if we just duplicate this object variable that we created called other object, you'll see it's now going to rotate the other object. So we just duplicated that into all the spots, and then we need to define the other object. And so what I'll do when I'm working on something where I want the other object to be self, I just drag the self object in, and now it applies to self. But in our case, I'm going to click this X to clear it out. And then let's apply it to something more fun, like, I guess we'll do it to this here. So this is a piece of clothing, which you could imagine wanting the clothing to spin, right? So we'll place that into here. And now, theoretically, what should happen is when I grab this and let go, the clothing should start spinning. There it goes. Look at that. All right. That's really cool. Oh my gosh. I love this idea. That's a really neat idea, T. Thank you so much for asking. Let me know if that doesn't answer your question as well. But that was so cool. Yeah. I'm really enjoying this, and like I can grab it, but it's going to continue spinning because it's continuously spinning until I grab this, and then it should stop because that's how it's designed. So if you didn't want it to stop spinning when you grab it, you would just delete that from the event section. So under the continuous rotation script, there's an event that says when object is grabbed to stop the spin, right? So it says when object is grabbed, cancel, sending return, and yeah, I think that's, nope, that doesn't do it. What is doing that? Anyway, it's pretty cool. I think that answered the question. Let's continue taking a look at what y'all have got to say. Ooh. Yeah, no, you're super welcome, super welcome. All right, so I guess I want to show you how we're doing that super cool secretive thing over here. And so here we have the time of day and painted mark window. Okay, so the painted mark window is literally this thing here. You've already seen painted mark window a million times. It just changes color slowly. It's amazing. And so I'm deleting objects because we're at world capacity right now. And so like when we're done with stuff, I just kind of want to keep us cleaned up in here a little bit. Okay, so over here we have a trigger. So you'll see that when the trigger is entered by a player's hand, we then rotate this dial, we update the text, and that's what's happening on this time of day script. And so on the variables tab, this is where we define a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of stuff. And so the first thing we're defining is times. And you can see this is a list. And so this list here represents the string name. So a string represents a text string, so something that like you display. So in our case, it would be like morning. And so this list has all of the names of every single time. And then we have all of the environment gizmo assets. So this is an asset list, is what that symbol means. And then you can see we need to put in all of the asset environment gizmos. So we have twilight, we have midnight, night, mid-morning maybe, sunset, daytime, overcast, winter sky, sunrise. And basically we need to create variables or object variables, or excuse me, not object variables. They're like object variables, but they're asset variables. So you can see this is an object variable, this is an asset variable. And then we have an iterator in here to kind of save what position we're in, what position do we want to start at. We need a text object. That's the text object right here that we're using to update what it says. We have the current asset, which represents what is the current asset we're working with. And then that is an object variable, which I'll explain in a moment. We then have the sound effect that plays when it spins, and the spinner is the object that is spinning. So when world is started, we have if enabled, or if true, add it to the list so I can quickly disable these if I don't want to have that specifically in my time of day cycler. So if you only want to do nighttime, you could delete all like the sunrise, morning and stuff and just leave the night settings. So that's pretty cool. And you just turn those off by hitting the Boolean right there. And then you'll see when it's added, what we're doing is we're adding the name of it to the times list and we're adding the asset to the environment gizmo list. And then over here, for the one that we want it to start at, we have it start here by displaying that on the text object, and we spawn that asset in. And we're spawning it to 000 because it's invisible. And then we send my event to self with, yeah, I'll show you that in just a sec too. So anyway, we add all those on world start. And then when my event is received with an object variable named asset, we then set the current asset to be that asset. And this allows us to know what the previous environment gizmo was that was spawned in. Because remember, we need to despawn it once we're done using it. So once we've changed it to the next one, we'll need to delete that asset. So when trigger is entered by player, we place down sound effect. We rotate the spinner by 60 degrees over 5 seconds. We delete the previous spawned object. We set self-detection to false.
So we disable the trigger so that we can't, and this script is running on that trigger since that's why it's self. We then send the delay to self after 1 second. Okay, so delay will be sent after 1 second. So I think that's the preventing it from being like click, 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 click. So you have to wait 1 second before you can click it again. And then we set iterator to +1. And then we're using modulus here to, I don't want to get too far into detail, but it's really cool because we basically loop when it gets to the end. So it continues back to 0 once it gets to the length of the environment gizmo list. We then spawn the asset at the iterator from that gizmos list, and we display text from that iterator from the times list. And so all your list options are at the bottom of your operators tab. So here's list, and that's where we can get items from the list. Cool. So yeah, that's basically how that works. We then enable the trigger and we can continue cycling. And hopefully that kind of helps show you how that is functioning. If you want to learn more about modulus and some of those other math little things that we were showing in there, I encourage you to check out the Vidyuu video we just recently posted. It was by Sensei Jay, and he shows you how to make this right here. This is so cool. Dynamic lights. This right here is a Vidyuu cycling light, and you can make this into basically club lights, which is so cool. And we basically use the exact same script that we used on these way back in the day. And now we have flashing club lights, dynamic lights, and you'll see that it's like the 3rd video back from most recently posted. So yeah, super cool. Let's see what else you guys are asking. And I have tons more to show. Oh, I want to go over there. The text. Yes. I would love to see what you're using it for. That's awesome. Okay, so to continue on our journey, we shall head over to one of my favorite sections, text formatting. And I swear you gotta check this out. If you aren't taking advantage of text formatting, you're missing out on a whole nother section of Horizon. Oh, that's interesting bleed there. So anyway, this is the original text page. I mean, this used to say new right here, and then it said new here, and then it's like even more new. I didn't even bother to delete new here. I was like, it's just more. There's just so much more. And almost all of this, I think all of this actually we have to thank Pigeon for. Pigeon discovered all of it. So huge shout out to Pigeon number 12. And what you'll see here, and the question I always get asked is, how did she discover it? And she discovered it by digging through Oculus's, excuse me, not Oculus, but the Unity stuff, the stuff of Unity, and found all this was the defaults. So that's pretty cool. And so over here we have new sprites, so you can use those new sprites. We even have number sprites, which we're using in the new Vidyuu Night Studio. We have all these new fonts, like this really cool one here. And to use these, it's a little more difficult. You have to type the font name in, so it's font equals Anton SDF, and then the material type is Anton SDF - drop shadow. And so you can see that's how each of these works. So you do like font equals Bangers SDF, followed by material equals Bangers SDF logo, and that's how you get it to look like that. And if you want to cancel it, you have to do /font/ material. And what's crazy about this is literally right to here, from here to there is 1,000 characters of formatting. I literally hit the max limit of the text gizmo. It's just absurd how much formatting was required. Oh, and you can see the sprites right there too. So those are awesome. And here's some fades. So you can do like, oh, these are amazing. And if you do it on a dash, you can stretch it and make it into like some really cool gradients. And then if you paint the gradient, these are all yellow to orange, but yellow to orange painted with purple looks like that, or painted with green. And so just some really cool effects you can do just by painting the text object. Woo! Man, I really, really am excited about this stuff. So, and if you're curious how we make large blocks of text, we use Megatext 4. Megatext 4 allows you to combine lots of formatted text together without having to like worry about backspacing all the way or like tabbing over. Like if you haven't seen Megatext 4, Megatext 4 is right here next to it, and you'll see that all you do is open this up, and at the very bottom, rather than typing up here into this text block, you type in here. And when you type into this, you get 36 different blocks to type in. You do have to add your own breaks, but once you add your break in, you can add your next text and so on and so forth. It's pretty sweet. You can even put like formatting on one line and then formatting on the other line. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. Yeah, we should probably show the lights and stuff. Lights and stuff. But I want to hear what you guys have to say. We got a guy from South America is asking to get let in. I also agree. We should let South America in. Please, Mr. Zuckerberg, if you're listening, we would like to see our friends in South America. In fact, our friends across the world. It's called Horizon Worlds, right? So we'd love to have them all. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit
Bienvenido, Los Amigos de Horizon.
C. Muy bien. I don't speak enough Spanish, but I do love our Spanish-speaking friends. And a huge shout out to Doc JC, who's helping us create a Spanish channel, Vidyuu tutoriales en español. So super excited for that. Woo. All right. Woo. Look at all these cool things. We've got it set tonight. Great job, Oculus. And I'm going to mess up the whole system. I'm so sorry. If you can set it back tonight, I wasn't thinking. I'm a terrible person, but check out this flashlight. Yeah, this was also designed by Sensei J. He did a really great tutorial, and you press your index trigger to turn it off and on, and you can see at night it looks even better. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look at that. You can imagine horror games. Look at, here comes, I found you.
So creepy.
Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Yeah. That's the one I was looking for. Put your hands up. I love that. So here's that torch I was telling you about. Remember the torch that burns out? This is that same torch. And so if I was to leave this right here, you can see it's barely touching the edge of this. And over time, you're going to see it slowly sinks in. You can actually already see it's already getting smaller and smaller, the lighting area. And when we come back in 30 seconds, it's going to be completely like burnt out. So then over here. Oh, yes, Oculus?
What's with this creepy avocado over here? Especially
Oh my
me.
gosh, that's the best guy. That's Guac. Guac, what are you doing over here, bud? So Guac is a guy you can grab, you can throw him around. He jumps, he bounces. Shout out to Bethany, who discovered Guac, was super confused. And I was like, you know, he could do more. So we made him do more. Guac is actually by my friend Yo the Legend. He has a Guac like this, and we created him in VR literally over a year ago. And now he's back because the new asset feature allows us to go back to worlds from a year ago, select things we want, and bring them back. Just so cool. Oh, and this here, light switches. Turn off your light. Turn off the flashlight. Yeah, look at that.
Flashlight's off.
We're using this in the studio for studio lights. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop. And I love showing this off because, yeah, no one pays attention to this, but you can drop this on the couch. Do you guys know how to do this? Because this is so cool. Literally, the pillow is on the couch. So the way this works is quite simple, actually. When you open up the properties on these, and remember, you can do selections of groups of objects now and do them all at the same time. So I've got these 3 objects selected, and you'll see there's a collision. So you say collidable, collision layer, objects only, which means players don't collide with it. Now this only works on non-grouped objects, so you can't group the objects together. But as you can see, it's just a fantastic effect. Fantastic. Okay, look at that torch. Look at how much it's burnt out. How crazy is that? So as you can imagine in the dungeon, when you're carrying this around and it starts burning out, it's like, is this even useful anymore? Oh my gosh, we're going to die in here. I can't find my way out. It's so exciting. So exciting. I love it. So yeah. Oh, and one of my favorite new assets. Bring that torchlight or something. This hot tub. Oh my gosh, I love this hot tub so much. It's just maybe not at night. Look at, he's coming in with the torch. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hit stop world, clear, and hit play to brighten it back up. There we go. All right, it's daylight. You can take a look. One guy was suggesting we actually turn this into a lava lamp. So cool. All you do to make a lava lamp, duplicate, slide, and then grab what, I don't know, something like that. What looks like a lava lamp? This looks like a lava lamp, right? You do that, put that right there. And then you need some glass. We've got glass windows over here. Duplicate. We slide this in. We make it kind of square-like lava lamp. Boom. And we can now duplicate that across all 4 sides. Dupe. And then open the properties panel of this. And instead of the max speed, so we have delay max, gravity. Oh, okay, we need to increase gravity. So min gravity, let's increase that to 1. And max gravity, let's increase that to 2.5. And now we should see it not go as high. Oh, still a little too high. Let's go to 3.5 and 2. And now we should be seeing really nice, very nice, okay? And so all I have to do, and I know this isn't perfect, but I just wanted to throw something together. But you can imagine like making oh, those just went really high. But you could imagine making a lava lamp like this, right? Like maybe make the balls a little bigger. I don't know. I'm just so excited. There's so many things you can do, and I can't wait to see what y'all will do. It's so fun watching everything you guys take this and create with. It's so cool. Like such a blessing, seriously. And slide. There we go. But yeah, I messed it up, but that's okay. And delete. Cool. So yeah, very nice. Any questions? Feel free to comment them. I'd be happy to take requests. Lots of things that we can show and do. Yeah, sweet. You're very welcome, Finesse. Thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate you. Whew. Oh my goodness. This is so exciting.
There's always worth bringing this up.
Okay, Oculus is right. It is always worth bringing this up. This is so important. Do you want to build a world for a lot of people? Do you want to have people in your world? I mean, who doesn't want to have people in their world? I want to have people in my world. I literally have a rule of thumb, which is if the world doesn't support 12 people, I don't know why I'd go there. I mean, I don't mean this in a bad way, especially people who are working at 8 or 4. But like, when I'm going at the World Tours event on Wednesdays every week, and I've got a group of 12 people who want to hang out in a world, I literally took a group the other day. It doesn't say on the worlds, and I took a group to a world that only supported 4 people. We created 2 instances of it, and none of us were in a party, and it was really, really disappointing because we couldn't get back together to continue our tour and hanging out together. So anyway, I know you guys want more people in your worlds. I want more people in my worlds, and 12 is kind of like my personal minimum, and this is how you do it, okay? If you have a soft cube, use them very, very sparingly, or never at all if you're Oculus. Like, if you look at this, it's not a soft cube, right? Like, it is hard edges. This allows you to have more than 2 of these per soft cube. If you delete one of these, you can have twice as many of these. And I can't imagine anybody saying, I'd like to have half as many objects in my world, right? Like, who would say that? Like, no, right? Like, you want as many objects in your world as possible. So, what's happening here? What does this even mean? What this means is if you had 50 of these objects, it would take up 1% of your geometric complexity. 1%. This only takes 22 objects to equal 1% of your geometric complexity. If you think about 100% geometric complexity, it would take 2,200 of these to make up 100% geometric complexity. It would take 5,000 of these to make up 100% geometric complexity. You can't have 5,000 objects. You can only have 3,000. But if you have these, you can't even get to the full 3,000 objects, which is really, really bad. So really highly encourage you to look at these objects here. They are the absolute best. Super, super powerful. You can do a lot with them. You'll be surprised with how much you can do with these 6 objects. And the sphere is my favorite because you can flatten it and do so much with the sphere, and you can make it look like a half sphere and you still get twice as many. You literally get twice as many by using this rather than this. So it broke my brain when I learned that, but seriously, it's crazy cool. Crazy cool. So knowledge is power. See more at facebook.com/Vidyuu/photos. And because it only takes me 2 seconds, I will give you the link. I'll make it so easy. It's facebook.com/Vidyuu/photos, Command A, Command C, and dropping it in the chat right now. Share this on your socials. I mean, it's that powerful, you guys. So good. Enjoy. Yes, enjoy. 50 cap for my Stargate gang. Ooh, yeah. Let's get 50 cap. I love that. That's a great request. You know, Cambria might enable that. We'll see. I'm so excited for new headsets. I'm like really excited. I don't know if I want lip tracking and eye tracking, but the idea of more capacity, that's what I really want, to be honest. I know that sounds like absurd, but it's so true.
Like, would you spend over $1,000 for a development headset just so you can be the only one able to get into a world with higher capacity?
No, I wouldn't. That's true. I wouldn't. But if I could build with higher capacity, you know I would. So check this out. This thing is one of my favorite things. We just updated this. Huge request from, I can't remember the guy's name, but he came by. And if you're in the comments, please, shout yourself out because you deserve all the praise. No, it wasn't Oculus. But basically, what you can do now is you use this as a window in your world. You stretch this, you build wherever you want this to be a window, and then you leave these cubes there, and the people can design whatever window they want. They can choose the color, the opacity. They can, literally all of this is possible. You can barely see Oculus through there. It's so cool. And down here, it tells you what the hex code is if you wanted to make this yourself. So if you want to know the math behind it, badoomph. And if you don't care about the math, just use it as this. I mean, that is so cool. Look at that. Yellow, boom, drop the greens. It's, ooh, what is that? That's like a maroony pink, red. Ooh, that's so good. So many cool colors. Oculus, get out of here. Oh my gosh. And I think the one that most people are going to be asking about, actually, the one that people probably need more help with is this right here. So raise your hand in the chat, drop some emojis. Do you know what this does? Do you not know what this does? I don't know. But basically you put your hand in and you get points. The points get shown up here on the display. But it's not working. Why? You're probably thinking the same thing. You're like, I imported this in my world. I didn't do anything. I deleted it. Oculus knows why. Tell us why, Oculus.
Iterators.
No.
I'm just kidding. Player persistent variables and leaderboards.
Yes, that's right. Player persistent variables. Not necessarily leaderboards, but he's on the right track. So over here.
Where's my leaderboard? That's why.
There's no leaderboard here. But if we open up this thing here, you'll see that it is requesting a player persistent variable called score. And if we open up our build menu and head over here to the systems tab, you're going to see under player persistent variables, we have no player variables. So we can create one. We'll call it capital SCORE, press enter, click create. And then all I do is hit stop reset world. So script and stop, clear, stop and play. And now when we press these buttons, they should work. They should. Do they?
Wait, what the heck?
You're like, who's Sensei J and what is he doing on the top of the leaderboard? There we go.
There we go.
It took a second. There we go. Oh, yeah, that's great.
Like, what did you do to me?
But yeah, that's all you have to do. You just create a player persistent variable, call it score, make sure it's capital S, and voila, you have a leaderboard, or not leaderboard, but you have this board, your top player board, as well as these. So super cool, super cool. Yeah, I'm very excited. But there's some other stuff we can probably look at, but I'm surprised no one's asking questions because there's so much we can show right now. This is such a great opportunity. If you're embarrassed, please don't be. Please feel free to just ask away. There's so much here to show, talk about, modify. I'm happy to help in any way we can. All right.
I'm going to run off.
Oh.
I have Latin night tonight. So
Oh, yeah?
Goodbye, stream. Sub to Vidyuu.
Latin Nights. Check it out.
Thank you for all the amazing gems you share.
A pleasure. Thank you for stopping by, Oculus. Bye. Awesome. So let's see. If I could show you anything, what I'd want to show is probably some of the new features that we haven't really played with. Also, this thing is super cool. It chooses a random teleport destination. You walk into it. I don't think we've rolled it out to all the asset bundles yet, but it just chooses one at random, and then it cycles the player to it. And just so happened to put me in order, 1, 2, 3. There it goes. Yeah, shouldn't be in order. So funny. But anyway, the way that works, if you're curious, it's pretty simple. Basically, we have spawn register. There's actually a tutorial on this on the Meta Horizon Worlds YouTube channel. And so we put spawn register when world is started, send register to the control with self. So we have a variable for control. And then over here, you'll see we run this script on the spawn point. So we drop down, select spawn register. We link in the trigger. This is our controller here. So we reference using this reference pill, dragging that over, placing it here. Then we've referenced our trigger. And now when the world is started, this sends itself to the trigger. And so then on the trigger, that's this guy here, random spawn, we receive the event register. So you'll see when register is received with that object variable, we then add spawn object to the spawn objects list. You can put that variable there by clicking new parameter, making sure to drop down, select object. Any name doesn't matter. It's just a kind of reference internally. And then when trigger is entered by player, we respawn the player to getting an item from a list with the random integer between 0 and the length of the list, which chooses a random item from that list. And over here, you can see all of those events are under the list section. And if you want to check out this tutorial, it's under the scripting section of the Meta Horizon Worlds YouTube, and you can just request it in the chat, and I'll go get a link for you if you'd like. But yeah, so add value, or excuse me, it's get item from list, and then random number, which you want to use random integer, not random with decimals, so random number, and voila. So super cool stuff. Whoa, I'm getting twisted. Ah! Don't get dizzy, I'm sorry. All right, great. What's the new script for creating the spawn asset that just got released today? What is the new script for creating the spawn asset ability that just got released today? Oh yeah, I'd love to show that. That's a great one. How do you make waterfalls? Oh yes, Divine, thanks for asking. I saw your comment. I haven't had time to respond. That's awesome. Making a world. Nice. Okay, so we're going to talk about waterfalls and rivers and streams in just a moment. And first, we're going to talk about the spawn asset. So bear with me here for just a moment. But we're going to quickly build an asset spawning feature that is relatively simple. Relatively? I bear with me. We'll get through this really quick. Okay. So first things first, we're heading to the gizmos tab. We're going to pull out a trigger. We're going to pull out a script, excuse me, in reverse order. And that's all we're going to do. Oh, we need a reference for where it's at. So let's drag both of these over to some place where we've got stuff to do. And so I want to use this as our button. So you can imagine making a button that looks like this in your world. And when your hand goes into this button, stuff happens. So we'll make this look like a button. So this trigger. And so the way a trigger works is it represents when a player's hand or something has entered this space. So when a player puts their hand into this space, we'll receive an event called a trigger enter event. And I'm getting a weird bug. I need to make this a little higher. So we'll drag that up a little bit. Oh, there we go. Got it. And drag that down a little bit like that. And that's a pretty good height right there. So you can imagine I put my hand in there and then an asset spawns. Okay. So this script is going, or this trigger is going to run this script. So the first thing I recommend we do is give it a name. And we're going to call this spawn a thing. And so there we go. We got spawn a thing. And then we are going to delete that for now. We're going to go down to our trigger here. So this is the trigger. And at the bottom right, there is a drop down. And if we scroll to the very, very bottom, we'll see the... Okay, apparently we won't see it there. Should have been there. So spawn a thing. Where's the spawn a thing code blah or script? You know I write a lot of scripts when it takes this long to scroll through. Oh my goodness. There it is. Spawn a thing. Oh my gosh, my favorite. So now that we got the spawn a thing script in, the thing that we got to remember is when does the event happen? So what is happening is on this events tab, we need to know when the trigger is entered by a player. So we grab that, drag that over, and we want to spawn something. And so we click new variable, and this is going to be an asset. So you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see there's a new asset option. We'll go ahead and give this a name and call it the thing. So whatever the thing is, this is that thing. Click confirm. Now we've got a new variable referencing the asset. And over here on our actions tab, there's a new action called spawn asset. So we're going to go ahead and drag that here. And then we're going to drag the thing into the spawn asset section. Now you'll notice the location is set to 000. That's bad. Go ahead and delete that. So you just grab it and pull down to delete. So that's the rotation. Rotation was actually fine. And I'll explain that one in a second further. But we're going to go to our operators tab. And under operators, you're going to find object transform, where you'll find position of object and the position of self. So remember, this is running on the trigger. So wherever this trigger is, this is where we want to spawn it, is right to the position of this trigger. And so we'll go and grab the self pill from the values tab. So values represent values like things, numbers, objects, and in this case, self is an object. So we're going to drag that into there. And the thing that's probably wrong with this is that it spawns into the trigger, and we want to spawn it maybe above the trigger. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this by thumbsticking to the right. And once I've done that, we're going to go back to our operators tab. We're going to delete position of, and then at the very top of operators, you'll find a plus symbol. Sorry I'm taking this a little further, but I think this is worth showing because modifying a position is relatively easy. So back on our values tab, there's one called a vector, which is basically position. We drop that in here, bring position of self down into the A slot of this plus symbol. And now we're adding the position of self plus an amount, and we're going to move it upwards by an amount. And so 0 and the far left and right represents positions on the X and Z axes, and this is our Y axis. And we want to move up, so I'm going to go ahead and put in 0.25, which will be a little less than a foot. Okay, so there we go, 0.25 meters up, and that's it. That's the whole entire script. Down here on the trigger, you'll see there's a new empty pill slot. This is where we put in the asset. So I'm going to need to make sure this stays open. And then over here on assets, we're going to spawn in, let's see, a key. Yeah, we'll go ahead and grab this key. Oh, that was I did the wrong thing. I'm not infallible. We click the info button, and then from the info button, you'll find the asset reference, grab the pill slot there, dragging it over here. And this actually goes either way. So if we wanted to go the other direction, you can grab this here and drop it there. And like that, we have referenced our key. Now, when I come down here and put my hand in the trigger, it will spawn a key right in front of us. And pretty cool, huh? Like, that's pretty neat. And so if you need to get the rotation right, I encourage you to use the rotation of the trigger. And so right here where we were using rotation 000, this world, that's the world's rotation. But we might want to use on operators tab under the object, rotation of object, and we put in self to represent the rotation of the trigger. You'll notice the trigger has its Y up here, so it's already pointing upwards. And so now when I put my hand in, it'll spawn in probably like this. How does it spawn? Oh, try it again. There it is. So look at that. That looks a lot nicer because we added that rotation, and very cool, very cool. So yeah, that's how you spawn in an asset. But I think it's really important that we teach despawning an asset. So I'm going to take this one step further before we get into rivers and water features. And so you'll notice here at the end, it says with event, my event sent to self. Now you can name this event anything you want. But in our case, we're going to leave it as my event. So we grab when event is received, drag it here. You'll see when my event is received. Now we need to tell it that it's being received with an object variable. So drop down, select object. And this object represents the key that was just spawned in. So I'm going to call it key and then click confirm. And then what we need to do is be able to delete the previous key. And so what we'll do is create a new object variable, which represents the previous key. So we'll call this previous key. So I just abbreviated there, click confirm. Now we've got a variable here. On the top of the values tab, you have set2. Set2 is going to allow you to take previous key as a variable. A variable means something that changes throughout the lifetime of the script. We drop that onto the left side, and the value that we're changing it to is the key. And now we can say up here, when the trigger is entered by the player, we want to despawn the previous key. So back on the actions tab, right here, we say delete spawned object. We drop that right above this, delete the spawned previous key. So duplicating by thumbsticking to the right. And now the previous key will get deleted, which is important because maybe you have world capacity to keep in mind, right? So is the world started? I might need to start the world. There we go. Hit play. And so when you're thinking about your world capacity, you don't want to run out of capacity, but with people just pressing this, so despawning the previous one is a great method. And any second, the key should spawn, I think. Maybe. Oh, there we go. Just a little bit of lag there. And so here's our key. And if I put my hand in, you'll see that one despawns, the new one spawns in. And I think there's a little bit of lag at the beginning of the world, so it didn't delete one of them. But anyway, that's how that works. So hopefully that answered your question. And now we're going to go work on some more awesome stuff. So, oh my gosh, Mike, thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Yes, you can get access to the Essentials bundle. You're so sweet. So all I do is I open up my menu, go to the Create tab, search for, we're calling this Vidyuu assets. Wait for it to load. Bum, 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 bum. And if anybody else needs access to the Essentials bundle, you can comment your Oculus username. You can go to the world and post a selfie, although that hasn't been working perfectly recently. So I apologize if you've posted a selfie and not been added. So anyway, I come in here, manage collaborators, search for our new friend Mike, and his name is MetaPhoenix. Shout out MetaPhoenix. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate you. And invite as editor. Voila, there we go. So you should have received an invite. And okay, we're going to continue on our journey. Fantastic. Let's continue. Sorry, it's hard to read through these little nose holes, but I'm doing my best. Good evening. Good evening indeed. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, you guys are great. Okay, so we're about to go talk about waterfalls. So, I am scared of water, if I'm being completely honest. Do you guys think I should save this script and add it to the Essentials bundle to spawn a thing? I think I should, right? Like, this is probably pretty useful. I'm going to just go and select it and save this as an asset. So if you've never made an asset before, let me show you how to do that. That's pretty cool, actually. It's a pretty cool trick. So to make an asset, all you do is select the, So you really want to start by selecting something that is oriented correctly with the world. So the Y is pointing up. So I select this script block because its Y is always pointing up because the text is formatted that way. And then I select everything else. And this makes sure the orientation is saved when I pull this object out. Now, when I open this selection by pressing forward on my thumbstick towards the, so you can see when my hand is in, there's a 3-dot icon to open the properties. And then I can click this new button here to create a new asset, and we're going to just call this is the spawn a thing, and I'll get that added to the essentials bundle hopefully next week. Spawn a thing, or actually it's not a thing, it's an asset. Spawn an asset. There we go. Yep. Voila. And create. So huge thank you for asking us to make that, because now we've got a new asset in the asset library. So cool. And we're going to go ahead and delete that from this world for now. Water. Okay. Like I said, I'm a little afraid of water. I've been like playing with it, tinkering, trying to get better myself, because in Horizon, we don't have real water, right? Like everything is kind of, it's what makes you feel like it's water. It's all about feeling, in my opinion, right? So you can see we've got this kind of text object here to create this see-through layer. We've got these little bubbles kind of rising up to make it feel like you're in a hot tub, the kind of like classic. I really like what I did here, but I mean, I spent over an hour working on this because I really wanted to push myself a little bit when I was working on this asset. And I'm just really happy with how it came out. I think the splash is really important for selling the water effect, and the sound is really nice too. So if we come back over here to, oh, look, here's another one. I don't think this one has a splash though. But yeah, so this one you can see we're using the water texture. So it's similar, right? But it's using the water texture instead. It's also got the bubbles and some other things to make it feel more like water. I'll show you that one in a second too. Our waterfall here is using projectiles to kind of create this kind of like cascading look that I really like. It's not perfect, but it's a good start. So here, this guy here is basically your really simple splash effect. And so you'll see when you enter the trigger, it splashes and you can jump up and down and you get nice little sound effects and a visual effect. And so this script is relatively simple, but if you haven't done it before, I understand it's not the easiest thing in the world. But if you watch the capacity and optimization video, we show you how to make this exact script. And so what's happening here is it says when trigger is entered by player. So that's when the thing is happening. There's this trigger here that represents when the thing's going to happen. We then move the visual effect and the sound effect to the position of the player's foot. So movements are found on the motion tab here under instant motion. And then we play that sound and play that visual effect, which is found on the actions tab right here. And then position of player is found at the top here of the operators tab, where you can get position of player. And then you just drag this player pill down to represent the player that is being affected. And then over here, we created object variables for both the visual effect and sound effect. And then we reference it here on the trigger to reference this visual effects object, as well as the sound, which is inside of it. So yeah, that's how to do a puddle splash. And so I think the splashing effect is really important. So you'll see it's also in here, right? So when we splash in, we get a nice little splash. And what's really cool about the splash is if we duplicate this, we can duplicate this as much as we want, and it will always use that same visual effect and sound effect. So I'm running through a bunch of them right now, and we're hitting them all off, but it's only using one visual effect. So it's really low capacity to have a bunch of water that splashes. So that's what's really nice about this, which is why it's in the capacity and optimization video. And this cascading water. And so you don't really need to write these scripts if you have access to this. And if you don't have access, let me give it to you like as fast as possible. But you can just take these, right, and use them to build your water. And so we have the simple launcher script here. And so you'll see what simple launcher is doing is it's saying when the world is started, we want to create a loop. So we send my event to self, and then we're going to continuously send my event to self, which creates this loop. So we use a random delay between min delay and max delay. And this is a random number with decimals. And so that's over here on our variables tab. We have it set for 0.5 and 2 seconds. And then we do the same thing on world start. And then all we're doing is launching a projectile off of self. And so if we go to our actions tab, you'll see that there is launch projectile. And now that you know that, these are the projectiles, right? So if I wanted to create another one with this script, all I do is go to my gizmos tab. I pull out the projectile launcher. I then scale it. It doesn't need to be that big. I just like that. Then over here, I can determine what do I want it to look like. In this case, the sphere for the kind of like the water effect. I want it to be blue, so I'm going to remove that red. So down here, you can see the color. And actually, there's an easy way that I just learned to do color So that's a cool color. But if I wanted to choose a more custom color from the style tab, I can go to maybe like Joyful Harmony, select this blue, and all you do is tap there and it selects that color. And so now we've got our projectile set up. We need to attach the simple projectile script. So we're going to drop down and find simple projectile. Let's see. And I know there's a lot of scripts in here. I'm sorry. This is where we'd be cutting the video if it was edited. I'm so embarrassed. Simple button. Nope, that's not it. Oh my gosh, I made it to the bottom. I didn't see it. Oh, someone's probably saw it and like, oh my gosh, how'd you miss that? I'm so sorry. Okay, simple button. I could swear it's called simple launcher or something like that. Edible taco. It's right here at the top, isn't it? How did I miss it? Because I was talking. Oh, there it is. Okay. Whew. I'm not stressing. Oh my gosh, look at that thing. Okay, so it's firing really small. So now we just adjust the properties on here. So it needs some gravity. So we're going to add 9. So it's a kind of normal size gravity. Earth's gravity is about 8.7. And then over here, we can go to scale and we'll scale this up to 2, make it massive. Look at this. Is it too massive? Did I make it too big? Oh, there it is. Look at that. That's huge. And so then all you do after you've made your first one is duplicate a few of these. And the problem with these is they're way too fast. So once I've made these and I realize, oh, wow, that doesn't look like water. That looks like a water gun. I can then open up the group selection properties panel and adjust the speed down to 5 and hit enter. And now when I let go, you'll see they all fire more like a waterfall. And you can imagine maybe not making them this big, but by having them larger, it does cover up more of the space. And so anyway, that's kind of like one way to do water. Another way to do water is with rotate, or let's start with this one here. So this one's really cool. I'm going to ungroup this so we can kind of decompose it. And what you're seeing happen here is there's actually, this is animated up and down, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. Okay. But you could animate this up and down. So what we're seeing here, I'm going to duplicate a copy of this. Dupe. And let's break it apart. So you'll see this is actually overlapping cubes. And normally you'd be like, that should be flickering, like you kind of see a little flicker there. And so the reason it's not flickering is because it's unlit. So I just grab the style tab by thumb sticking towards the eyedropper. And then when I go to the style tab, you'll see it's set to unlit. And it also has the texture of water. And so my favorite way to make water is like this. This looks pretty good. It's not my favorite. I don't have a favorite really. But anyway, so we've made this water. It doesn't. Oh, and the other thing that's really important there on that style tab is down here at the bottom, turning off align texture to object makes it align to the world. So that way it doesn't. Let me show you what it would look like. Otherwise, it's bad. So if I do it like this, you'll see that it doesn't look good, right? So you have to make sure that's turned off. And we'll go ahead and delete that because the next thing I want to show you is that if you open the properties panel of this and then hit record, we can record an animation on this guy. Slide. Oh, that's not right. Undo. Stop. Undo and a redo are here on your left controller. Okay. We're going to try that again. I can't believe I messed that up so bad. Okay. Stop that. No. Oh, and it's trying to record the animation. Don't play on start. Now go ahead and hit record again, making sure snap tool's off. That's this button here. So we turn that off. Put my hand inside so that's easier to select this. Now I can slide this down. Now I can slide this down slowly and then I hit stop. And now I've got it on back and forth so it'll go up and down. And then I can hit play on start. I can adjust the speed. So it's at 0.1. And now when you look at this, you'll see that the water is kind of going up and down. So you can imagine if you had built like an ocean that had the water going up and down, it would kind of look like waves lapping up on the shore. And so I can demonstrate that pretty quickly by changing the speed to 0.5. And then we would take this wall here, pretend that this is the ocean, right? And now pretend this is the ocean. I'm doing such a terrible job. But yeah, look at that. I mean, that's exactly how you make it look like the ocean. So I guess that would work on a river too, but probably slower on a river because it's more like racing. I hope this is helping. I really do. The other thing that you could do is, this is a grouped object. And you might want to use a see-through text object, which if you haven't used before, I'll show you that in just a second. But oh, I just duplicated the entire hot tub. Whoops. We'll grab one of these then. So this is a nice window that we can use to make some text. And then I ungroup it with that button there. Delete that. Delete. And we'll just drag that out. Select and delete. Now this can represent an upper layer of water. And so I like to do this when I want to add kind of an effect. Like it's almost like you can see through it. Maybe there's like a deeper layer of water. So you can kind of imagine something like that. And then that goes up and down with it at the same time. And then you can see your hands and feet through it. Your feet, your rings through it. Anyway, so cool stuff there. Hopefully that's helping. And let's see what you're saying. Hi. Thank you. I'm glad that's cool. I really appreciate it. I was so excited when I made my first splash effect script, right? Oh my gosh, Galactic, I totally feel that. Damn Blast, if you spawn an asset, will it work with other connected scripts already in the world? Oh, Dan Blast asks. Hey, welcome Dan Blast, great to have you here. If you spawn an asset, will it work with other connected scripts? This is a really, really good question, and I have a lot of good answers for you. So thank you so much for asking that. Money Baby, welcome. Thanks for being here. Great to have you. Let me add Beloved 88 to the Essentials bundle. I see your username there. I think I saw a couple other usernames. So if you are listening and your name hasn't been added to the Essentials bundle, please comment it again real quick. I'd really appreciate it. Okay. And we're going to, yeah, my menu takes forever to load. So if you ever send me a collaboration request and I decline it, it's because I can't. My menu takes forever even after cleaning it out. So I apologize. Yeah. Okay. Invite. And we're going to manage collaborators. And our new friend is Beloved 88. BELOVED 88. There you are. Invite as editor. Gotcha. All right, and our other friend is ALLAAT. Search up ALLAAT. And I maybe misspelled it. Let me double check. ALLAAT. Okay, I guess that's not your username, or unfortunately it's not searchable, or you're already at it. I don't know. I apologize. But yeah, you're super duper welcome. Anybody else who wants it, feel free to just comment your username and I will do my best to add y'all. You can also pop into the world and take a selfie. I look at that a few times a week. So good. So good. All right. So we wanted to talk about the asset spawning feature. So first of all, we made that asset earlier, just a minute ago. And if you've never pulled an asset out of your asset library, the way you do that is just by going to your assets. You'll see spawn an asset where you can grab it and it pulls out. Look at that. There's spawn a thing. We just made this, remember? Of course you remember. It was just 5 minutes ago. So we're going to go in here. And the question was, how do you create objects that communicate with each other? Now, Dan Blast, I don't know if you arrived just recently, but we were just taking a look at a world that has this feature like as its priority. And so I'm going to import that world so I can show you the scripts running in there. And it's called VDC. It's the Vidyuu Dungeon Crawler. We're still working on an actual name for it, but I'm going to go ahead and import it in here. And it should come in above us, I think. There it goes. And so we have a lot of assets that communicate. And so there's a few thoughts that I wanted to kind of express while we work on this. Also, I just realized this world is totally at capacity, and I just imported another world that's like really close to capacity. So I'm going to try and delete a lot of this. Maybe. I'm going to delete as much as I can. Okay. And yeah, never do this. If anybody says you should do this, I totally disagree. Sorry, KO. Anyway, you put your hand in, pull down to delete, and those assets will delete. And I think it works a little better because I'm on desktop. But geez, look at this lag. Yikes. So in that meantime, hi, I'm back. Oh my gosh. Yes, let's see. Hey, feel free to keep commenting, asking questions. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate you all. Oh my goodness. I literally am still in disbelief number one, that you're able to donate money, and number two, that you are donating money. So thank you all so much. And if you don't have money, please don't feel like you have to. I'm just like seriously grateful to all of you for all your support, and thank you again so much. So yeah, any questions you have, feel free to comment it. Let's see what's going on in here. Oh, we started deleting. That's the good news. I try not to touch anything while stuff is getting deleted. Otherwise you get some kind of funky stuff happens. And so far so good. Okay, so Dan Blast's question is, how do you make stuff to communicate? And this is such a great question, because remember that bag we made in the dungeon crawler where you'd like grab your bag and it pulls out an asset and then you can use it to fight? Well, the first thought we had when we started working on this is we don't want any scripts running on those assets. So the way we made all of our weapons work is all of the brain is in the bag itself. Oh, some lag. So all of the brain for the bag is in the, all the brain for the weapons is in the bag, and the weapon itself is just tagged, right? So it's got a tag on it, so that way when it enters a trigger, or or it collides with a object, we then get an event. And so what's happening is when the bag spawns in that weapon asset, we begin listening to events on the weapon. So we can get events from it. And that's not the only way we get events. We also get events from other things. And the way we do that is by sending events to a player variable. And that probably sounds crazy, but you can actually send events to players. And this stuff is still deleting. I'm afraid to continue doing anything, but I'm just going to leave it. And so in here, inside of our dungeon crawler, you can see we've got these 4 items as our default free items that you can pick up. And so when you grab this staff or this this giant version over here, we can go into here. I'm going to go ahead and search for stick, which should pull out our stick. And I spelled it wrong. So there we go. Actually, there's a few of these things. There's the hockey stick, the basic staff, and all of these run the exact same way. So you'll see it pulls out, and we have the properties panel, please. Properties panel, please. Maybe. But anyway, it has on the second page of the properties panel attributes weapon. And so all weapons will run the weapon attribute. And so then over here on our training dummies, you'll see that this trigger, oh, I don't think anything's working because downstairs is still being deleted. Remember I said don't do that? Don't do that. It's like, please stop touching stuff. It's literally complaining to me right now. So I'm curious, what is still being deleted? Is it all of it? The other thing that I recommend when you're deleting large things is actually stopping the world. I should have done that because it's trying to run all the scripts and all the scripts get updated. And yeah, definitely stop world. I should have done that. My bad. Any moment. Oh, goodness. Oh, it's letting me delete some of this stuff that's remaining, I think. I can't really tell, but it's not accepting the stop world code or button. Yeah, I'm sorry. But let me continue explaining it from a visual standpoint while this hopefully continues working out. So again, this trigger on these guys here is designed to detect objects tagged weapons. So when you use your weapon on this training dummy, it's going to send an event to the player ID of the owner of that weapon. And you're like, what? Let me find the script, which is not going to open, of course, right? So it's right here. This is the training trigger. I'm like, fingers crossed. Come on, you can open. It's no biggie. Okay, so basically what this trigger is saying is when the trigger is entered by an object, send an event. So just a regular send event to object, but instead of sending it to an object, we drag down owner of from the actions tab. And in the owner of, you drop the object variable that entered the trigger. And because a player grabbing an item makes them the owner of that item, we know that the person holding that item, whatever it is, staff, stick, etc., is the player. So we send an event to that player who then will receive it because on our player bag, we listen to events from our player. And so when the bag is attached to the player, we're also listening to that player and getting events from that. So that's one way to communicate with spawned in assets. The other way to communicate with spawned in assets is a lot more complicated. So over here, these are our stone golems, and then our hellfire. What is this guy called? Hellfire Skull, I think. Anyway, the way these work is even more complicated because this has that same script that forwards the event. That's what this trigger is. So it's still forwarding the event to the player. That's what this script is running. But the enemy also needs to target players. So that's what this script is doing. So this script allows our very scary guy in here to target players. And how does that happen? Well, over here we have the entity placer. So entity placer detects those tiny cubes. So you remember we were looking at these tiny cubes earlier, these ones right there. See that little guy? These tiny cubes, when they enter this trigger here or the trigger that we have down below, it causes the entities to get placed, whether that's a bag of gold or a chest or a monster. And so when this entity placer receives an event with that, it then figures out what is it that it's supposed to be spawning, which it then sends an event to our static enemy controller. And so our static enemy controller is going to spawn in static entities. And so that's what those two guys are. They don't fly around yet, but when they do, we'll update that. And so then on this, when they send an event to, so when they spawn in that object, you'll remember that when you spawn in an object, it, oh, look at that. We've actually caught up. Fantastic. When you spawn an object, oh no, it's still deleting. Oh gosh. So when you spawn an object, it is received moments later with an event. So we remember we had the my event received with the key object, which allowed us to set the variable key. And so when that event is received, you can send an event to that object. The problem is, as of right now, it seems the best way, or maybe the only way to send events to spawn in assets is with a delay. And so we send an event called I own you, which I know is a terrible name for an event, but we send it to this guy here, which lets him know who the controller is, so who he's talking to. And so then this guy can talk to that guy because he received the I own you event. But the I own you event is sent with a 1 second delay. When we sent it with no delay, it did not get received. So that 1 second delay is very important. But once that's received, we can start sending information back and forth. Like, where am I? How big is the trigger? What's the area I'm allowed to move in? Who's the player I'm targeting? When the player enters that trigger, that we can then get them as a target. Lots of information being transferred back and forth. But more or less, that is how to do asset spawning and communication. And if I can open this, I might be able to show you. I'm really sorry, but I can't show you, Dan. I will be creating more information on this at some point, but hopefully that was a good starting point for you. Did the UK just get into Horizon Worlds? Yes, it did! Oh my gosh! So exciting. I know. I am so excited. Welcome all of our friends over the ocean. the ocean. It's great to have you. On the official blog post, they have said, while we are just opening the UK right now, they have further plans to expand to the rest of Europe, or not to the rest of Europe. They just said to more of Europe over the summer. I wish it would be to the entire world personally. Obviously, we want the entire world here in Horizon Worlds. But I have no idea when that's going to happen. We are as a community, we all want the rest of the world in. So it's not like anybody wants nobody to come here. So hopefully we'll see you guys all get added soon. But seriously, huge welcome to our friends in the UK. Oh my gosh, Dan Blast, thank you so much. Thank you. Seriously. Okay, so any more questions? Feel free to keep them coming. I'm going to continue. Oh, look at this. The script popped up. Okay, I'm going to quickly show Dan what this looks like. And what you're seeing here is, let's see, what do I want to show first? Yeah, let's start from the very beginning. This is a long cascade, but it's important, and I think it's really powerful, and I hope it inspires some of you guys to kind of think about how does this work in your scripts. So here we have the enemy spawner. So the enemy spawner is an event that runs on this little tiny guy. And so when we open this event, or this script, please, please. Oh gosh. Okay, maybe I don't get to show you everything I want to show. But on this script, we have a ton of information stored. So we store what is my type. Oh, here it is. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to show you this. Okay, so here under our variables tab, you're going to notice we have 4 variables. One is the trigger. So that represents the area in which the monsters can spawn inside of. It also represents the position. It represents pretty much everything, right? Like it also gives us player IDs when they enter the trigger. We have the type count number, which I'll explain in a second. We have enemy count, so how many enemies can spawn in that trigger, and enemy type. And you'll notice over here, we have a comment that describes that type 0 equals static, 1 is flying, 2 is walking, 3 is short boss, tall boss, max boss. We have a lot of work to do. We're only on static, but we're continuing to work through that. Huge shout out to Miles, who's working on our bosses and all of our mobs, really. So that first value in our vector here, so we create a new vector from XYZ, which is on your operators tab under vector math, and literally right here. So new vector from XYZ allows us to store 3 number variables, and we can get the data using X of, Y of, and Z of. And so we save our X as the enemy type. So that's one value. The second type is enemy count. And our third type, which we define later, is level, which we add to this vector at a later point. So then we send the, when IONU is received from the controller, so once the controller sends some information back and forth, they can start communicating. It then sends the enemy is spawned to the controller, which gives it all of the information about the enemy, like its type, the trigger itself. And then this is where we can type in more information later, like is it a lava map? Is it a water map? Like maybe some more information. But all of that can come in here using these 3 additional number values. And it's important to note that we're not sending these variables through just as they are, because we want to be able to add more values in. And that's what a vector allows us to do, because you can only send 3 parameters in an event. So this allows us to make the most out of those 3 parameters. Okay. So this is where it starts. It starts here on this tiny little cube in this little trigger, and then it sends an event over to our entity placer. So this is what detected the trigger enter event with that little object. And then when enemy spawn is received, we forward that to our enemy spawner. Over here on our enemy spawner, you'll see that at the very top, we start by forwarding events to the correct location, right? So if it's a static enemy, it goes to self. If it is a flying enemy, it'll go to a flying enemy controller once we get that added. And then you'll also note when world is started, we're adding the golem and the hellfire skull to our static enemy variable or asset list variable. Then over here, when the static enemy event is received with all of that data that we've been passing along, we can set the current level to be the Z of this vector. And I guess actually this is where we added that, isn't it? We added that right here. So here in the enemy spawned, we share the level. That's how we get the current difficulty. And so we use that to kind of like change values around. And so then down here, we have static enemy getting spawned in. We then spawn the, right here, we spawn an asset, which is a random asset from the list. And then we send the event to self new enemy. And when that new enemy event is received, that is when we add the object to the current object list, add it to the enemies list, send IONU to that object to kind of like initialize a conversation so we can start communicating with it. We tell that object what's the current level. We also send self so it can communicate back. And that's more or less it. So then on our enemy, we can do all the other stuff like moving around. And yeah, hopefully that helps, Dan. And thank you so much for asking. Whew. Okay. So if there's any more questions, I'm happy to take them. We've been on for 2 hours. We covered most of the big things that I really wanted to cover, but still happy to take some more questions, add some more peeps if y'all need to get added to the Essentials bundle. In fact, while I'm waiting for y'all's questions to come in, I'm going to open up the menu here and take a look and show you a little behind the scenes of how we do adding people to this Essentials library. So I go Vidyuu, enter. And breathe. Now, once this loads, we should see all of these. I can see there, and remember when I told you there was a bug? So there is not 5 here. There is 5 people I cannot see on here, unfortunately. But on this one, this is where most people have been sending messages. So if I click info, we're going to see post and feedback. And I'm going to get really disappointed here when I have to share that there is, oh, there is. Hey, Papa Bear. Welcome, Papa Bear, if you're here. But you'll notice when I click pending, it only shows Papa Bears. There's no one else. So there's more than 10 people. I can't see their posts. The bug's been reported on user voice, but it's literally only affecting me and like 1 or 2 other people. So unfortunately, I don't think it's high priority. But if you guys aren't getting, make sure to leave a comment on YouTube so I can get you added. So Papa Bear 61, let's get you added. So then I go back. and then click on, it doesn't matter which copy, but then I can click manage collaborators, remember that name as best I can, and search for it. PAPA underscore BEAR. Oh, forgot the underscore. Shift underscore. I don't see you. Maybe you've already been added? I'm not sure. Did I spell it wrong? That's also possible. As far as V62, nope, I don't see it. Okay, so then I just double check and go back here, info. All right, what y'all saying? No questions. Okay, I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap. But thank you guys so much for coming. Seriously, I hope this new update is as exciting to you as it is to me. It's absolutely mind blowing. Papa Bear, yeah, I wrote his name right. I'm not sure why he wasn't on there. So what I can sometimes try and do is see if the fourth copy will accept it. But it's likely it's in your. So if you're listening to this, Papa, it's likely that's in your collaboration request. I'll show you that in just a second. So Papa Bear underscore 6. Oh, there you are. Invite. Hey, you're online. Cool. Invite is that her? There we go. So if you're not seeing it, it's probably in your collaboration invites. So it'll be over here. So from create tab, go here, accept the invite. And then when you're inside a world, you want to just click the info icon, then hit the 3-dot icon and click import world. And then you can start creating assets out of all of those awesome assets. So fantastic. Well, thank you guys again so much. I forgot what I was saying, but I'm going to run to my personal space and delete this world because it was just a fun one. So much awesome stuff in the latest update. So many amazing things. I mean, just as a quick recap, seriously, we have dynamic lighting, flashlights, stage lights, torches that burn out, club lights, moving lights, light switches, custom locomotion, player physics. You can throw people, you can put them up and make them fly. You can spawn and despawn assets. You can make storage, like storage, swappable dungeon maps, chests, loot drops, randomized mob spawning, maze algorithms, player visibility, force holding objects, so players can hold an object, asset library, you can make your own personal assets, hand collisions allow you to make like physics-based movements, it's like light switches, levers, so much more. Achievements, you can make more player variables, you can have achievements on a board. Monetization isn't out to everybody, but we're starting to see that, which is super exciting. Custom physics properties, so you can, I didn't even get to play with that. I really wanted to. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're going back. I gotta go play with custom physics properties. New fonts found by pigeon number 12, now in the Vidyuu assets showroom. Batch editing, where you can add multiple object properties, text fields. Venues has been added. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's just amazing how much has been added to Horizon in the last month alone. So yeah, let's go take a look at custom physics properties and then we can wrap. Oh yes, thank you, Victoria. Greatly appreciate it. Y'all been fabulous. So yeah, now that I'm done with version 62 Playroom, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete it. I'm trying to clean up my worlds tab because like I said, I've been getting a lot of lag over here lately. But the world that I want to show you that I think would be a good one to play in is the maze world because it's amazing. Excuse me. Okay, so maze world, we're going to create custom. What does this mean? What does this word that I'm saying mean? You know when you made like ice and you could make it super ice and it would slide forever and it was just so cool. Imagine making it super ice, but it bounces forever. That's an option. And like you get to, I'm so excited. Please be there. I'm so excited. I can't believe I forgot to look for this. Okay. Oh, and now you can see the maze is generating. Look at this. How cool is this? I love this maze generation. It's so fun. In fact, if I go into build mode, you can watch it generate. So here you can see it's loading in all of the paths. I've got it set up to load color, which is really cool. And once it's done loading, it will start cutting through. Wow, that is loading super fast. Look at that. And then it generates the maze just so quickly by despawning assets. Like insane, right? Oh my gosh. If you guys want to see how this is made, I will walk you through the script, but I need you to comment and let me know that you're interested. Otherwise, I just don't know. Oh, this didn't load correctly. Oh, that's so weird. What happened? Let me hit stop and see if this... It didn't load the last row. Huh. I wonder if there's a new... So interesting. Now it seems to be fine. Okay, so while we're waiting for that, I'm going to pull out an ice puck. And what we're going to do is make a puck that you can throw through the maze, and it's just going to bounce around forever. And that seems like a really cool idea. So we're going to go to interactive. We're going to give it both physics and make it grabbable so you can grab and throw it. Oh, and it's already having fun. And here we can see we should be able to scroll down, I'd assume, right? So use custom gravity. I don't see option for physics properties. Is it on a different page now? Physics? No. Grabbable? No. Both. Okay, attributes, material, texture, more. I don't see it. Huh. So there used to be an option to choose the physics property, which is where I assumed it would have been. I am perplexed. If anybody has access to this, I'd love to see a screenshot of it. Sometimes they release this stuff in rolling waves, so I might just not be in the first wave of people to get it. And but yeah, I'd love to see this. This would be so cool. Oh, I'm so disappointed and sad, but it's okay. It's okay. Oh, but look, the maze generated correctly this time. So, did you want to know how we make a maze algorithm that looks like this and is super cool? Because I'd be more than happy to show you. I want to see. Yes. Thank you, Galactic. You're awesome. Appreciate you. I love throwing my floating disc on my world. Right? Oh my gosh. I know, right? So good. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. So how do you make a rainbow maze generation out of these two simple things? Well, the first thing you need to know is, how do you make it rainbow colored? Well, the way that we did that is under our Assets tab. You'll notice that I have a dozen of these. I have the purple wall. There's my, oh, actually that's pink wall. That's a pink wall. I have my magenta wall. Yep, I called purple magenta to be easier. Wait, no, there actually is a purple wall. I take it back. And then there's cyan and there's blue. Anyway, so I have tons of assets, right? And so down here on this properties, you'll see that I had to link in every single one of those wall assets. And I made sure their orientation and size was identical. So now I've linked in all of the different assets. And now I'm going to walk you through the script, and it's starting to glitch out because I'm touching stuff. So I'm going to go hit the stop button so it doesn't do this stuff. The other thing that's, and this is the thing you need to know about when you're working with this asset spawning feature, is if you have a queue of assets. So these were all queued up. So when I hit stop world, they continue generating. So when I hit play, I have to wait for it to finish generating all of these before I can actually stop. It is a little painful, but it's okay. So anyway, then we can hit stop. Oh, but you'll see these pegs. And so the interesting thing about the pegs is because I didn't want Z-ripping and I didn't want it to all be the same color and I didn't want it to be glowing. So because I want it to be multicolored, I had to put these pegs in here. But in my earliest version, I actually didn't have the pegs. So the pegs do add a lot more object capacity cost, but it does make it look pretty cool. So that's the version you guys get to, is that version. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit stop, which will now go ahead and delete everything. There we go. And we're cleared. So now we're going to open up the maze generation script. And we're going to start over on our variables tab. Now it's going to be pretty high level. So if you don't understand all this, don't worry, but I'm going to try and teach as much as I can. And hopefully we can unlock a couple things. And you can always look at this as well. It's in the essentials, or excuse me, the assets world. Yeah. Okay. So we have barrier. We have, let's start at the bottom. What's going on here? So we have an object array. An array just is a fancy way of saying list. So we have a horizontal wall list. We have a vertical wall list. And so when I'm looking at this, I consider that the top left to be the top. So then anything that's horizontal is horizontal and vertical is so on. And then we have to define how big is it. So we define the columns, we define the rows, and that defines, you can change that size. And so I've calculated that you can probably get up to about 30 by 30. And so yeah, I mean, you can make some pretty crazy mazes. We then define a start position. I had to manually type these in. Yeah, I'm sorry. So you'll also have to manually type those in for whatever position you want. Then the spacing, so you can type in your spacing. Actually, I just remembered, in the asset version, I actually use the reference of the object to determine where it spawns. So you don't have to type it in. You just move your spawn point around. You move this around and it uses that as the start point. Nice. Good job, Lakes. So anyway, our spacing determines how far are they spaced apart. So they're spaced 4 meters apart. So you can see that's why we typed in 4 for 4 meters. And then the horizontal start position. Then we have vertical rotation and horizontal rotation. So we know our horizontal rotation is perfect, but we need to rotate for it to be vertical. And then we have our iterator, which allows us to iterate through stuff. We have remove me, which are all of the objects we plan to remove. We have a list of booleans. I'm gonna explain that when we get to that, because this is hard to explain as a variable. Current walls, empty object, rainbow walls. Okay, and then we have a list of all of the assets. So we have the rainbow walls list. Then we add all of these asset object variables to the list. We then have bonus. I don't know what bonus does. We'll find that out. Timer and barrier. These are sound effects that will go off. Oh wait, no, that's a timer. Timer represents that which has all the sound effects that go off, and barrier represents this wall because we want to make the wall non-collidable so that players can exit after it's finished loading. Got it. All right. So when the world is started, we add these in the order that we want them to spawn in. So we want it to start pink, then we go red, orange, yellow, lime, cyan, blue, purple, magenta, and we add those in that order to the rainbow walls list. We then send loop to self after a half-second delay. The delay doesn't really matter, but I add that in case because I like it. Then when loop is received, I add the false boolean. Sorry, running out of breath. Oh my gosh. So the first thing we're seeing here is we're adding a boolean for false to the have visited list. And we want to make sure that for every space that's generated, so we consider each of these cubes to be a space. So this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it continues on. And so we want to know what spaces have been visited and not visited. So we use a boolean, which represents true or false. So has it been visited? No, it has not, because we've just started generating it. So we add that to the have visited list so that we have a parallel list of cells and booleans. And so by saying parallel, it means we can, it makes it easy. You'll see in a second. Now, when we are doing this, the first thing we need to do is make sure that we are not at the edge. And so when you think about these cells, we're spawning at this cell a vertical wall here and a horizontal wall here. And we continue doing that all the way across. But when we're here, we do not need a vertical wall. We only need a horizontal wall. So it's important that we use this little math here to determine if we are at the last position. So it says if the iterator modulus columns does not equal position 15 or whatever columns minus 1 is, then we spawn a vertical wall like normal. And that's more or less what's happening there. And then what iterator modulus columns does is it returns the position in the column. So it tells you what column you're in. Now the next one we're doing is the exact same thing, but for rows. So here at this bottom row, we don't need to put in rows, no horizontal ones, only vertical ones in these cells. So we do the exact same thing for the bottom. And then the next thing we do is we set iterator to be +1 so that we're moving from cell to cell. Once we do one cell, we move to the next cell. So it goes I +1. And then what we say here is if the iterator modulus columns equals 0, I don't know why we're adding a bonus. Oh, this is so funny. Okay, so I know what bonus is. Bonus is how we figure out which columns to paint which color. This is some silly math. I do not recommend this. I should have just made it like an even number so it's the right amount of colors. But basically, they're not even. It's like pink, then there's 2 red, then there's 2 and 2 and 2 and 2, and then there's 1, 2, 1. And so I had to create some really, really messy stuff right here to determine which color to paint. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Okay. Then the last thing here is we say if the iterator is less than columns times rows, which is how many cells there are. If it is less than that, then we send loop to self so we continue generating cells. Otherwise, we set the current position to be a random position between 0. So we're determining a cell. So this is cell 0. This is cell 15. And so we say random cell along this route is going to be the start position for our maze generation. And so once we've determined that position, we then add that current position to the path history list. And so path history is a number list that represents which cells we have previously visited. You'll see why that's important in just a moment. Now, when we spawn in an asset, you'll remember from our previous talk about assets that we have received it with an event. So we received the vertical add event and the horizontal add event, and we send those to self. And so when the vertical add event is received with an object variable for that new asset, we add the new asset object variable to the vertical array. And similarly, we do that for the same for the horizontal array. Now, our last piece to spawn in is a vertical segment right here. This is the last segment that spawns in. And so on our vertical array, we say if the length of vertical array is equal to columns times rows, we know we have reached the very end. And if you're wondering why the math of this is wrong, it's because I did some really funky stuff. You can look at it if you'd like, but if you recognize that the math was wrong, you can look at my funky math up ahead. But anyway, it's so funny. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I know it's wrong and I'm just embarrassed. Okay, so then if we reach the end, we then send generate the path to self after another half-second delay. I like adding a little delay here just in case something goes wrong. Now, when generate path loop is received, we clear path and we clear current walls. What does clear path and current walls mean? Well, let me show you visually. So over here, we have chosen a random cell. So say we chose this cell here at random. We know that we need to know which way we can go. So it says, this is a method. We can go this direction. We can go this direction. We can go this direction. We cannot go this direction. And if we were on this position, we could only go this way or this way. So we need to figure that out. And we need to know what is the cell number. And we need to know what wall is in that cell. To cut to that cell, what wall is there. And so we have which walls and which paths. So we got to know what is the cell number for that cell and which wall do I need to cut down to get there. So the first thing we do is clear those out so that they're empty because we need to generate this every time we generate a new cell. We then set the current position to be get item from list. Okay, so yeah, what this is doing is it's getting the current position. That makes sense. And the way we do that is by getting an item from the path history list. And so when when this is just started, we only have one item in the list. And so we say, what is the length of path history, which is 1. We then subtract 1, which gives us 0. And 0 happens to represent the first position in the list, which is also the last position in the list, which is great. So when the length is 2, then it becomes 1, when 1 is the last position on the length of a list length of 2. And so we get the current position, which is the last item in the list. We then say a bunch of stuff. Oh my gosh. Give me 1 second to take a quick sip. My cheeks are just going crazy. Grab this. Whew. I know. This is so bad. It's so late in the day. I shouldn't be sipping on this. But it's so good. Okay. Also, just kind of taking a quick peek at your messages. How it's made. How do you do a punching health script? Ooh, good question. Oh, money baby 3515. I actually added you yesterday, unless you mean as a friend, in which case I haven't added you as a friend, but I'd be happy to. It looks so cool. Thank you so much. And air is good. Healthy air. Breathe air. Brought to you by air. Just kidding. I mean, I guess kind of, right? Like I need air to breathe. So I guess it is brought to you by air. You're welcome. Thank you, air. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're back in here. And what we're looking at now is current position. We just calculated what our current position is. So remember, what I was just saying is that once we've determined which cell we're at, we know where we started or wherever we are currently in the maze, where can we go? That's the question, right? So which path is free? So the first question we ask is the path on the edge? Because if the current position is greater than a column, right? So if it is on this edge here, it can't generate to this way. Like there's no path, it can't go that way. So that's the first check. We call these dummy checks. It's like, can we go that way? You can't. So it says, is the current position greater than or equal to columns? Because if it is, we can't go that way. If it is not, what are we going to do here? Okay. And then the next thing we do is say, is that current position minus columns? What's happening? Why is it minusing columns? Well, by minusing columns, what we're actually checking is what to the right one? Current position minus columns would be minus 16. So that actually that'd be north one, right? Okay. So what this is actually, oh, got it. Okay. So this isn't checking to the west. It's actually never east. It's not checking to the east. It's actually checking to the north. So it's saying if it's got it, if it is greater than 16, we know that there could potentially be something free to the north. Got it. That makes sense. Sorry. So anyway, yeah, first check is there something free to the north? Second check is that position minus columns. We're now checking it, whatever it is. So wherever the cell is have we visited it before? So we check that Boolean. Remember, we created a list of Booleans, and by default, they're all false. So we're checking not. So we say not, have we not visited it? And so if we have not visited the cell to the north, we then add that position to the clear path list. And so then we know that that path is clear. So that's the cell number. We then add that item, current position minus columns, from the horizontal array to the current wall list. So now we've gotten, this is the wall you need to cut through to go north. So now we've added that to the current wall list. And the next one here, I'm not going to go any further into detail on how the math is. If you'd like to see this math, please just, read through it. I know there's a lot here, so I just really, it's already overwhelming for me. It took me like literally an hour to build this because it's just so much. But what I can tell you is we start with the north, then we go east, then we go south, and then we go west. That's what each of these ifs is. So this next one you'll see is current position modulus columns. I was wondering why it wasn't modulus on that when I was saying east. So we're checking to make sure it's not at position 15, which it would otherwise say you can't go that way. And then the next one is we just check, have we visited that? And if we haven't, we add it to the lists. And we do the same thing for the south, but instead of subtracting columns, we're actually adding columns. And so we're actually checking, the first dummy check is making sure that there's something, we're not here in this position, right? So we want to make sure that we're in that position. And then we do the same, check the Boolean list, and then we continue through this. Okay, so ready for the fancy, amazing math? Me too. Right here, this if statement is the power of making the path. It says, is the length of the path greater than 0? Because if we need to go somewhere, there has to be a place to go, right? So if none of the paths are clear, we've reached a dead end. And I'll tell you more about dead ends in a second. But for now, we know that our first position and pretty much our first 100 positions are all clear. Not 100, it could be 50. Anyway, the first bunch of positions, they're all clear. So we say, is the length of the clear path clear? Yes, it is, or it's more than 0, so there's a path to go. We then set the current position or the current pick to be a random number between 0 and the length of the clear path. So if there's 3 paths, we choose 0, 1, or 2. If there's 2 paths, 0 or 1. If there's only 1 path, we pick 0. We then set the current position to be that item from the clear path list. We then add that to the path history, which makes the next end position, that current position. We then set true at that current position because we've now visited that position. And then we delete the current wall. So that wall that we had put in that list, we grab current pick, which is representing as 0, 1, or 2, and we delete it from the current wall list. And like that, we've now cut through the walls and we're creating our first path. But now we've hit a dead end, right? So you imagine we started here and we worked our way around, and then all of a sudden we hit a dead end right here. Okay, so there's a dead end. Now what do we do? Well, that's where this else statement comes in. It says remove item at index length of path history -1. And what this does is it's called backtracking. So in that example I just gave, right? So we start here, we go this way, and we go this way. It has to continue backtracking until it finds a clear path. Excuse me. So now once it reaches this point here, there's a clear path here. So it cuts this way. Now it has a 50% chance to go in either direction if it goes here, another 50% chance it goes here. Now there's 3 open positions, and it continues finding a clear path until it reaches another dead end. And that is the math of this. This literally one line is the math of like, oh my gosh, it's like, it's so amazing and powerful. I love this singular line. It's my favorite line in the entire script. Mwah. Anyway, that was embarrassing. But anyway, I like it a lot. We're good friends here. I literally, I'm going to be honest with you. I made this script and I thought it was not going to work. I put this line in and then the whole path generated and I was just like dropped. I was like, are you kidding me? I've been working on this for 4 hours and the maze works. Like that was it. I'm done. I couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief. Anyway, so I absolutely love that line. And so the last thing here is when the path history equals 0. Remember, we're backtracking through this path when we reach a dead end. So when you reach the final dead end, you will backtrack all the way until the path history has been completely cleared. So when path history is greater than 0, we send generate path loop to self. Else, we've reached the end, we can send loop to the timer, which starts the timer. We set the barrier collidability to false, and we show everyone a pop-up that says the maze has been generated. Yeah! Thank you guys for watching that. I mean, I don't know how many of you made it through that. Wow, 15. That's actually more than we started with. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are super awesome. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Galactic, for asking that we show that. So that's super cool. I'm ready to call it. That was great. And I guess some of you might have joined throughout that. So let me go ahead and hit play so you can see the path generate, because now that we've talked about it, let's see it happen. Okay, there's all the paths being generated at the world start, and they're all getting added to a list. Every time one of those spawns in, it's being added to that horizontal or vertical list. I love that I'm like having to look straight down and you can see what I actually look like. I hope the top of my head isn't terrible. Don't look at me. So after this is generated, we'll put my feet in the floor. You'll see that it's going to pick one of these at random at the top, and then it's going to start cutting, and it goes really fast. There it goes. Look at that. It starts cutting, and then it backtracks, and it cuts, and it backtracks, and it cuts, and it backtracks, and there's this whole section it's got to get to over here, and it's done. Look at that. Crazy. Isn't that crazy? It's mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing. Oh, it still breaks my brain. So cool. So cool. And then literally all of these paths are connected. So all you need to do is determine any position along the edge as the start position. You can define it literally anywhere. You can define the end as literally anywhere, and it works. It's just so cool. So cool. Go to my personal space. Oh, and I was going to tell our new friend, Jeremy, great to have you. Money Baby 315. I added you to the Essentials bundle yesterday. So if you go to the Create tab and go to your collaboration invites, you should see it here. And just in case you want to be my friend, I can do that too. Y'all are welcome to add me. I'm Lakes05, by the way. That's me. Money. BABY 315. Information. Add friend. Voila. We can be friends. That's cool. And so over here under these, look at there's people in the, that's so cool. So anyway, over here, I believe this is where I added you. So if I type your name in, it should probably not pop up. MONEYBABY 315. And so once you're added to the Essentials bundle, yeah, so you're not on here because you were added yesterday. And so you just need to accept it from the collaboration invites over here, and then you'll see it here. You want to click New World, click Blank World, and create a new blank world. You can call it My Copy. And then once you get into that blank world, you select on that fourth copy that you were added to, and you'll click the Info button in the bottom right. I'll sit up straight. Sorry, my menu takes forever to load, but yours probably won't. You click this Info button, and then in the top right, there is a 3-dot icon, and that will say Import World. And that's how you get a clean copy of the world, because when you import, it imports the published version. If you click this Edit button, there's people there. I wouldn't recommend going there. Like, I am so sorry to anybody who's in there. It's usually a mess. It gets messed up really fast. You can see there's 300 people on that one. But when you import it into an empty world, you are importing the published version of the world, which means that it's in its perfect state. It's when I hit the publish button, it's locked in. It doesn't get changed when people make changes. And yeah, so pretty cool. And if you guys have any other questions, I'll quickly take them. But that's a wrap, you guys. So exciting. Very nice. Let's see. Dunderbuilds has hello. You're very welcome, Galactic. Had a great time learning. You're very welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for stopping in. Oh, Sassy. Thank you for joining us, Sassy. Shout out to Vidyuu. Oh, thank you so much. My absolute pleasure, Dunder. Really appreciate you too. You're doing some great stuff. And Lindsay, thank you so much. Really appreciate your support tonight. Thank you. Thank you all. Anybody else who donated, I really appreciate you guys so much. I literally could not do it without your support. A year ago, I did not think I would be here. And grateful, very beyond grateful to be able to offer education like this. And actually, if you guys have a minute and you haven't done this yet, I've been working on trying to get more players in build mode. And so if you can quickly go to this website, and apparently I didn't copy it. Let me try again. Command A, Command C, and just quickly vote for this. Basically, when I joined about 2 years ago, we had 8 people as the maximum you could have in a published world. It went to 12, then it went to 16, 20, and then it went to 32. And here we are at 32 players, but we can still only have 4 people in build mode. And I'm very confident we can have at least 8, at least. And so I'm hoping that if we as a community vote on this poll, we can get 8 people in build mode, maybe even more than that. And you can only imagine, like, what if we could be doing these sessions in a public, like in edit mode, and y'all can join in and hop in and out. I think that'd be so cool. And then we could like really have more interactive experiences in these live streams. So anyway, please go vote for that. I really, really would appreciate it. And thank you guys all so much again. Bye. Oh, thank you so much for voting. And yes, hello to the UK. Woo. Oh, Sassy, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh.